Good evening, everybody. Normally, Tim starts the show, but I'm going to start it today with a very special message to whoever sent me this wonderful pillow. It's a like button. Bring it to smash! Yeah! Oh, that felt so good.
Just wanted to beat the like button.
Hold on, I'm not done.
You're not smashing it.
I want you to do the same. Right now, smash that like button. You know you want to. Come on. But look at this. Oh, yeah. I can smash. Oh, smash.
Adam now has a like button to smash.
Dreams.
To accommodate his violent tendencies.
Yeah, he's so many violent tendencies, man.
And then bang on the table.
Yeah.
So did you guys smash the like button? Oh, a bunch of people did.
Wow.
Wow,
Holy
look at that. I think we got to start with that.
It works.
You got to just start
The
bashing the
pillow
like button.
works. And I feel better. I've let off a little steam.
There's a lot of anger in the air, you know. It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
Seriously though, thank you whoever sent that to us, because we just
yeah.
got it in the mail today to the TimcastIRL mail slot, and I actually filled it myself with some beans.
Whoa, be careful.
It's pointing at you.
You don't want to point it the other way, because then it becomes no, don't do it.
No.
It's a like button, all right? It is a like button. Smash the like button.
But is it a Facebook like button?
No, it just looks like this
I don't
one.
care. I don't discriminate against like buttons.
It's blue, like Facebook.
Nah.
It's purple to me, all right?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Try to tell me something different. Go ahead.
I heard a rumor.
Oh, rumors?
Yeah, that Donald Trump was going to cheat.
I saw it coming, too.
I wonder how many people get the reference. I think you all get it by now, right?
I'm
We just
pretty
love
sure they
making
do.
fun of Eric Swalwell.
He's
Donald
so
Trump
endearing.
is
Actually.
going
right.
to cheat an election.
Oh, my gosh.
They would hope, don't they?
This is actually a really fascinating story. It's apparently Max Boot. Who is he? Who's Max Boot?
Isn't he a columnist for... Let me look it up.
Well, yeah, he's a
I wanna
columnist for Washington
check.
Post. But he's like, he wrote an article, and I'm going to give him a more ominous sounding voice, because I don't know what he really sounds like. For all I know, he was like, "Hi, my name is Max Boot." And but for the sake of it, I'm going to give him a more ominous sounding dark voice of, "I recently participated in war games. Now I was on Team Trump, and we did not concede."
Okay.
And he basically writes this article about how they were given it's like they're playing D&D basically.
Right.
It's like, okay, this it's actually really funny. They basically played leftist D&D to see what Trump would do.
This
Okay.
makes sense. In
What-
his picture for the post, he's wearing a fedora. So I'll just, calculate that into your voice impression.
Hey, stop ragging on the D&D players.
Yeah,
I'm
see,
just
it was
kidding.
writing on the wall. Yeah,
That's
I saw
right.
it. It was there.
There you go. That's better.
Well, if we're going to do D&D fedora wearing,
Maximum boot.
anti-Trump.
Recently, I participated in war games where I was on Team Trump.
So that's where he licks the pencil. He's like,
Trump.
let me get this down. Yeah,
He's
write
like,
this.
I was on
I'm
Team
get all the
Trump.
information.
And then his friend goes, more like Trump. Am I right? And then they high five. All right. Enough ragging
But
on
like
this guy.
across the room too. They're like
Yeah,
not even
like-
near each other. They're like, yeah,
And they still miss.
totally got it.
So he wrote this thing where he basically says, literally, there was various scenarios presented by some organization. They had all these people come in, and they chose teams, and they were like, even though Trump loses the election, he refuses to concede. And then he mentions there are like other scary scenarios where if nobody wins, then like the right and the left, like civil war erupts. I'm not kidding. The Washington Post published this.
Oh, the Washington Post.
Yes.
I've learned that they're a great
They're
source of
very
information.
trustworthy. Yes.
Hey, democracy dies in darkness.
Okay.
At the Washington
No,
Post,
but listen.
apparently.
The point is, we have one of the most prominent papers in the country. Unfortunately, it's the Washington Post. But they've literally written this thing where they're saying our war game scenario predict a civil war where violence erupts. And the speculation is that the civil war ends in the favor of the right, not in the way you might think.
Okay.
The right doesn't win the fighting. The fighting just in general causes SCOTUS to force everything to stop and give Trump the victory. Like they just say, Trump, you win, everyone stop.
Okay.
So we have that. And then we also have this really, really amazing story. You see, a bunch of people got together, and there was a letter that was drafted. And the letter said, we must cancel culture.
Oh, wow.
And now it's
That's very
begun.
strong.
Some of the people who've signed the letter, they've already tried canceling some of these people. And it's like, yes, we saw that coming. But one person's already apologized
Woo.
to the mob,
Record
trying to
time.
cancel them for yes. All right, it was like not even a day.
Don't
And
cancel me for canceling the cancel culture canceling list.
Yeah,
Yes.
people were like, "You want to cancel culture? We'll cancel you." I'm sorry. I didn't know. These people are so pathetic, man. Yeah. And so we actually have J.K. Rowling, who has signed this letter as well.
Okay.
And so they've written this thing about it. We'll check that one out. And then if we get to it, I usually we'll give tease some of the stories we might talk about. Mortgage-backed securities are apparently, their delinquency rate is worse than it was during the Great Recession when the housing market totally collapsed.
Oh, back in 2008.
Yeah, and there's some speculation that we are going to see worse than the Great Depression.
Wow.
Because everything's being held together right now by duct tape.
Yep.
But I'm not entirely convinced. We'll see. What if Trump wins because he cheats, then the economy tanks? Just combine all of these scenarios everyone's putting together, and then what? Like Mad Max? Trump's wearing spiked leather, with chains and riding on a giant roadster or whatever. Idiocracy. Total idiocracy, man.
Yep.
Yeah. But we other than that, we have a like button. So you should well, Adam, take it away. Well, people are listening. They have no idea what you're doing right now.
I'm smiling obnoxiously.
He's holding the like
For those
button.
just listening, I'm holding this like button and smiling obnoxiously, hoping you know what I'm about to do, which is smash it. Yeah.
Well, you're actually punching it.
Don't tell me.
You have
Tim.
to take both your fists and
I'm sorry, I'm wrong, Tim. You
But
could,
also,
you
don't
could just
forget-
say you're wrong.
Don't forget.
I'm used to it by now.
Don't forget to smash the subscribe button.
Oh yeah.
The notification bell.
This is how I smash, Tim.
You smash.
This is considered smashing, Tim.
No, I think you're mashing.
I'm mentally picturing this as Tim's face right now.
Mashing.
Ooh.
Mashing the like button.
Mutiny.
Smash the
Lightly
Tim's face. I meant like button.
We don't want to smash his face.
Yeah, no.
Let's talk about this here
No.
story, huh? Let's talk about what if Trump loses, but insists he won? How many times have they written articles like this?
Multiple.
Where it's
All the time.
it's been there was a funny tweet I saw, and it said, if you're one of these people that's retweeting the story that says Trump is not going to leave the White House, you're the rube. You're the target of their grift.
Yep.
They're going to keep writing these stories because they know you're going to keep clicking on them, and they write new versions every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Trump will cheat. You know what Trump said if he loses?
What?
They were like, what do you do if you lose? And he's like, then I lose. I don't. What do you mean? What?
Yeah.
It's a very boring answer. I leave.
But
But
what
Joe,
are you talking about?
Joe Biden apparently said something like he'd have to get the military to pull Trump out.
Oh, gosh.
Very exciting.
Why are they engaging in this kind of rhetoric? You know what I mean? Shouldn't they just keep their mouths shut? What was that? What do you got?
Spritz.
We got to spritz the
Spritz
cat,
time. We got
Spritz
a spritz
cat.
event.
and she's gone. Okay, but let's stop worrying about the cats. Let's check out this story. Check it out.
Yeah.
Well, actually, here's the first thing.
No,
I'm
no.
gonna do.
I want to actually comment on that because it makes me think every single thing that's happening is the Democrats firing all the weapons they've got. That's why Biden's saying something, because they are in a corner with every single blade out, throwing him in every direction, fire everything. Ah! Biden's like, he's gonna cheat. Trump's like, no, I'd leave. What are you talking about?
Well,
I'll walk out of the White
I'd
House.
like to
Like, what?
retire.
Here's-
What
here's-
other options
well,
do I have?
so look.
Yeah.
This scenario is very similar to one we talked about before.
Okay.
Where they're Trump doesn't win, so they accuse, the Democrats of cheating or claim there was Chinese interference, and then jam up the process so that nobody wins, and then the Supreme Court or the House side with Trump.
Well, didn't the Supreme Court just rule that the states have to give their popular vote to the electoral votes?
They have to give their electoral votes
right.
to who wins the
popular
state,
vote.
in the state. No, in the state.
Oh, in the state. Okay,
So yeah,
okay.
so if a state says Donald Trump won, then the electoral votes have to go to Trump. No
okay.
faithless electors, because people tried voting for other random people in 2016.
Right,
Yeah, because
okay.
they're I don't agree with any of this. They're not supposed to do that. Now, interestingly, the Electoral College vote is a remnant of the olden days.
Yeah.
That one of the features of the Electoral College was that you'd send electors to be like, here's what our state has chosen.
Right.
So when the state voted for something, the elector represents that state. So that still makes sense. For a lot of other reasons, the Electoral College is all about proportional representation.
Right.
And then, we negotiate the power based on the population. So you have your senators plus your plus your congressmen. So it's the Electoral College, in my opinion, is a very, very, very important structure.
Okay.
Because it makes sure that we don't have mob, majority rule, basically mob majority rule. What I mean is, if you had just a popular vote, then you'd have Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York controlling everything.
Right,
That's
that's
a
a
good
full
point.
democracy, right?
And it doesn't work. So
Yeah.
what you end up getting is, let's say they find, fresh water. And actually, no, we'll use the Great Lakes as an example.
Okay.
If if California was facing another drought, and then it was based on popular vote, California would lobby and be like, why don't we get the water from Chicago? And then New York would, depending on which way they go, it's going to be all about the big cities.
Yeah.
So the easiest way I explain this to people is when I went to California and there was an area where the well water had run dry because the farmers were digging deeper and deeper and deeper. There was a drought going on. So it's not solely the issue of voting, but one of the issues was that they had a lot of surface water in the farms.
Okay.
But because the big cities have more people, they voted, the surface water goes to the cities. So now you had poor people living in rural areas who had their surface water taken away from them by the big cities. So, that's a really good example of the problem. If you live in the middle of nowhere and you have a pond, the big city can just vote and come and take it away. They still can do that. But with an electoral college, it makes it much more difficult for the bigger populations to oppress the smaller states and the smaller populations.
Water wars.
Then it's coming too.
Yep.
So anyway, their pitch here, what I think is interesting about this story is two things. First, they say that basically, Trump barely loses, then Bill Barr claims there was cheating, and then, fighting breaks out and the House rules in favor of Trump. But they also mention here at the bottom that, what do they say? Hold on, let me see. Yeah, they're talking about near civil war in the streets. That's what they say. The danger of an undemocratic outcome only grows in other scenarios that were war-gamed by other participants. For instance, what if there is no clear-cut winner on election night, with Biden narrowly ahead in the Electoral College, but with Michigan, North Carolina, and Florida still too close to call? The participants in that war game concluded the result would be near civil war in the streets. Far-fetched rumors are enough to bring out armed right-wing militias today. Imagine how they would respond if they imagined that there was an actual plot afoot to steal the election from their hero.
Wow.
I actually agree with it.
Okay.
Because I've talked to some people. I've had people message me saying straight up, if they see, that the election's being stolen, the militias will come out.
Yeah, but they're saying that they're out right now. Like, I don't see
Well,
militias
they're talking
out.
about Gettysburg, saying that the militias that showed up in Gettysburg fell for the hoax that Antifa was going to burn flags.
I haven't seen anything from. Was there militias that showed up at Gettysburg?
Yeah.
I heard it was happening.
Apparently so. I've seen
But
articles. I didn't.
I have yet to. I have yet to see. I'm sure people have been talking to me about it, and I'm sure they would have sent me images. There's people that follow me that live in Gettysburg that told me about that was going to happen. I'm positive they would have sent me something if they showed up. The only militia that I've seen marching down the road is the guys in Georgia.
Yeah, NFAC.
Well, so
taunting the supposed right side militias, like
Right.
bring it on, let's fight. It's like what?
Yeah.
What do you want?
hundreds of people showed up.
Okay, so you do have some here.
Yeah, in Gettysburg.
So this is Gettysburg.
They linked to it. Listen, the point is, I agree that right-wing militia groups will come out if they think the election's being stolen.
Yeah.
But what will they do?
Right.
Like, what they're trying to insinuate is that right-wing militias, I mean, think about what they're saying. Near civil war in the streets, right-wing militias will come out. Are they implying that it's the right-wing militias that'll be, milling about with guns, shooting at people and stuff like that? Because that has not happened.
Right.
What has happened is the far left, Antifa, Black Lives Matter groups have shot many people.
That's true.
Have there been right-wing militias who have engaged in that stuff in recent? Am I forgetting something? I know there have been far-right extremists who have carried out like lone wolf, terror attacks.
You'd remember it because they would be talking about it nonstop.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it would be
Seriously.
everywhere. There would be no escaping that kind of conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
They'd be like, that's proof.
They want that to happen.
Right.
They can't wait. They would
I
love
know.
that. They'd be like, oh, ice cream. Let's spread it out.
I think it's correct that there would be near civil war in the streets, and I've explained this to some of my friends that I'm like, listen, man, you've never faced down the mob the way I or many others have. There's no reason. Like, there's no reasoning. You can't argue with them.
That's true.
So a good example is when Luke Rudkowski of We Are Change was in Hamburg for the G20.
Yeah.
And he was walking with a local journalist, this guy Max, and someone yelled Nazi Schweinhund.
Yep.
And then random people heard it and started punching him.
Yep.
And like pushing him down.
And they chased him down for a while.
And then the police rescued him. Luke's a right, like I think he's an anarchist.
Yeah.
A right wing, like an anarcho-capitalist So that he actually, I'm pretty sure he hangs out with like right and left wing anarcho types.
Yeah, he's
in, like,
not even
Mexico.
he's not even a wing. He's like
he's his
another
own wing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he's
He
ANCAP,
broke off of the
Off the
winged
plane, yeah.
animal.
but
that-
he's always been like that.
no, it's
right?
true. No, he
Yeah.
stands
But
apart.
my understanding is that the people he hangs out with, a lot of them are like, I don't want to say Antifa,
Yeah.
but close without the violence, because true anarchists don't believe in it.
Right,
But like,
okay.
you know, so he gets pointed out and he gets physically attacked. And that's what I tell my friends. I'm like, when the chaos starts, no one knows if you're on their side. But if you're wearing very like obvious militia type gear or, you know, a right wing looking thing or American flag, you know where you can stand to be safe. I've been in situations where the mob is active. And, you know, one example is, I think it may have been like June 5th. Could be getting the date wrong. In 2015 or 16, man, I can't remember. But it was in San Jose. You can Google this. And there was a mob of people running around outside of a Trump rally beating people. One guy who was with the crowd got beaten too.
No,
And he was like, "What? Why did everybody start hitting me?" And I'm like,
because it's a mob that you
Yeah,
you
there's
can't
no-
control a mob.
yeah. So I've been talking to, you know, some of my more lefty friends, and I'm like, listen, I'm telling you, I know you. When this happens, I know which side you'll be on, and you're not going to be on the side of the left wingers. You're not. You think you might be, but you won't be. You might be running around with them, but the moment it gets crazy, you'll be standing behind the right wing militias in minutes.
Yep.
Because, like, watch some of these videos, man. These people just start getting reckless and destroying things. They fight each other. There's a video out of Portland a couple days ago that Andy No tweeted about, where he's like, in the absence of police, they fight themselves. And it happens because some people are like, hey, don't burn this building down. And the other side's like, F you. And then they start fighting.
I mean, look at New York right now. Look at Chicago. There's been so many deaths, so many shootings. It's crazy. It's already a war zone, you know. And then look at what happened in Atlanta. You know, that family was just turning around. They went past the barricade, turned around, and the Black Lives Matter movement shot at them because they were in their zone
Yeah.
and killed the 8-year-old.
8-year-old girl is not safe. You will not be safe. But I'll tell you what, I've been to events where there have been right-wing militias like the Oath Keepers and the 3 Percenters.
Okay.
And they're the most disciplined people there. And to be fair, too, I have been to events where there have been like communist, socialist armed factions. They are also the most disciplined on the ground.
Yeah.
And I think it has something to do with the respect for the firearm.
It's true.
So like I've actually seen like armed communist people, and they're very like, we don't want any violence, man, because you do not want to go there. But then you have these young people who are just violent and angry. So, you know, typically I think one of the funnier stories is that when I was in Ferguson, the Oath Keepers were there, and a bunch of these Black Lives Matter activists were yelling at them like, what are you doing? And then they were like, we're here to make sure everyone stays safe. And they're like, the only problem we have is with the police. And they're like, we know. That's why we want to make sure everyone stays safe. And they're like, wait, what? And the Oath Keepers were like, we swore an oath to the Constitution.
Yeah.
We don't like police brutality. We want to make sure everybody stays safe. And they were like, oh. They don't, like they see in the media what these people are. And yeah, they may be right-wing conservative traditionalist.
Yeah.
But they're like anti-violence. They're like, everybody keep calm, stay cool.
Yeah.
And they're going to make sure, you know, so
Peaceful protest.
when I see, I was actually at an event in Boston, and there were 3 percenters. I don't know a whole lot about what that represents.
Same.
But they were stopping the right from engaging with the left. So when the left was like trying to antagonize, it was the 3 percenters who are like yelling at the right, being like, "Nah, back off."
Keeping the peace.
Yeah, keeping the peace and making sure. And none of them were armed, you know. But they were like, if they weren't there, it would have been. I think everybody would just clash, start fighting. The cops were there too, but there were a few people who walked over to their group, and it was the 3 percenters who pushed the right side back, saying, "Don't engage with them." And it also has to do, in my opinion, with like optics.
Yeah.
As soon as the right side throws one punch, every camera, boom, that's the front page of every newspaper.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They don't care if it's the left that's throwing punches.
So here's what CNN writes. June 11th. Here's the real danger if Donald Trump loses the 2020 election.
Oh, good.
It's like on your
I can't
face.
wait.
Yeah, the first paragraph is the only thing I'm really concerned about. Joe Biden said Wednesday night that he believes if President Donald Trump loses the election and refuses to leave the White House, many of the former generals who used to work for him, quote, will escort him from the White House with great dispatch.
Cool. Something Joe Biden believes. Great news.
And what
Great news.
And so Biden's giving you this like, dude, these people live in an action movie.
Yep.
It's just not real life.
It's very exciting.
It's a movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been saying that they've glorified movies, and we've turned our heroes into fake characters. And that's what real life is to them. Their reality is based on movies and books.
Yep.
There's always a bad guy. There always has to be a bad guy. And right now it's like, well, they've presented, Donald Trump was like on a silver platter for them. Like, oh, perfect. We have the perfect bad guy.
He's going to, how old is he? He's about to be 80.
Oh,
Like
Biden?
No, Trump.
73.
Isn't he 74?
Oh, 74? Oh,
Yeah.
man, I'm way off. Biden's
not
about to
too
be 80.
Biden's 78.
Anyway,
I think.
all right. I got his age wrong, but
Yeah.
the point I was gonna make is, even Trump is an old man. He's not gonna like rip his shirt off and then go like Jean-Claude Van Damme fighting the generals. Like, what do they think's gonna happen?
I know.
Like,
he's gonna
the-
mobilize
Trump-
like the army in front of the White House and like fight American
generals?
citizens. No, there's a reason he didn't send people into Seattle, because he didn't. That the optics that we were just talking
Right.
about. That's terrible.
But also
that's what the
authority.
Democrats
They
wanted
want-
him to do.
They want him to be a dictator, but he's not.
Exactly. He's
So
not.
so they keep acting like Trump is a fascist, and he's barely using his power.
Yeah.
So it's like they think, it's going to be November 4th, like 3 in the morning. The results have come in. Trump loses narrowly. And then he's going to be in the Oval Office. And his loyalists are going to be like, it's the generals. They're outside to remove you. What do we do? And then he rips his shirt off and he's got like dual holsters. And he's like, we're not going anywhere. And he starts like, what do they think's going to happen? He's gonna
Probably that. Probably exactly that, Tim.
He rips
I
his
am not joking.
Alex Jones comes out of the roof.
I'm with you right now, Mr. President.
He comes out like of a cabinet. Like, what? Alex Jones, you've been there the whole time? Yes.
Well, he's
Takes off the tinfoil hat.
yeah.
I'm ready for the information.
No. He puts the tinfoil hat on.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just so
Protection.
protection.
He's about to engage in a battle, and then the generals come in with their mind control device, and they're like cranking the wheel, but Alex Jones is like, they can't stop him.
This just makes me think. I can't wait. I am seriously looking forward to the debate.
A day later.
The debate between Trump and Biden. Man, oof.
But wait, hold on to that.
I can't wait. All right, I will.
A day after that article comes out. Well, hold on. I got to show you a little bit more, right? They say the comments which Biden made in an interview with Trevor Noah on The Daily Show are not the first time that the former president and presumptive nominee, well, he's the nominee, has suggested that he believes the incumbent may well seek to fiddle with the results. Quote, mark my words, fat. I think he's going to try to kick back the election somehow, come up with some rationale why it can't be held, Biden said in April. But the real danger here, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but here, a day later, this is what we get. Trump says he will do other things if he loses the election. It's so boring.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have a specific noun to represent what he would do.
He's like, are you kidding me? I have all these businesses that
He's
I've been
gonna golf.
not working on. Like, I'm gonna go build buildings and places. Like, what? Put my name on them. That's what he
Wait,
does.
so let's dip our toes into real life.
Yeah, please.
U.S. President Donald Trump said he will go on to do other things if he loses the November 3rd election after Democratic opponent Joe Biden said the Republican might cheat and refuse to leave the White House. Quote,
Oh man.
certainly if I don't win, I don't win. I mean, go on and do other things, Trump told Fox News.
I'm just looking at that ballot. You guys can't see this, but there's a ballot that came to our
Yeah.
house.
Yep.
We've
And
talked about
we
this
couldn't
before.
vote today.
Yeah. So there's some stuff going on, and I can see that ballot from here. That's not for anyone that lives here,
But none of us got our ballots.
and none of
Yeah.
us got ballots. So that's an issue, and it's weird that they're painting this picture like Trump is going to cheat. Trump is the one who's going to cheat. I'm just like, why are you saying that so much?
But the reality is Trump's response is very boring.
Exactly.
Like, everything about Trump has been so much more boring than they've tried to claim.
And then what's up with this? I keep seeing this. Pop up. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
wait, there we go. There
so
we go.
the presumptive Democratic
Because they haven't had the
presidential.
convention yet.
Is he not? Or is it Hillary?
Well, I guess they
just make up your mind.
They can't
DNC.
say it. They can't say it.
Why not? What are they? What?
because they haven't had-
middle of August or something when
Yeah.
the DNC
End of
officially declares he's the only one.
Because they're going to say Hillary or
Because
something. I don't know.
yeah.
No, I think it'd be Cuomo maybe.
No way.
I have to wonder, man, are they really helping Trump win? Like, I don't believe it. I'm like, I think about what people and moderates are saying right now. They feel like Trump can't win. They're scared they're losing their country. And then all of a sudden Trump pulls an upset and everyone feels inspired. Like, I'll tell you what, man. I've been thinking this since Trump won in the first place, where it's like, actually, it's not even on me. There's a conspiracy theory that Trump is part of the deep state.
Okay.
There's a conspiracy theory, mind you. I'm not saying it's true. The idea is that you look at these photos of Trump and Hillary together.
Mm-hmm.
You look at these photos of like Trump and Epstein together. And so there's a conspiracy theory that Trump is a global billionaire elite, but he was propped up as an outsider, still part of their elite circle, so that he can get all of the anti-government, anti-establishment types normally would be opposed now cheering for him. Hold on. Alex Jones. This is the funniest thing. I remember Alex Jones, like, very anti-government. All of a sudden now he's very pro-Trump, right? So what do you end up with? You end up with a lot of these people who are anti-government now actively supporting the federal government because Trump is in there. It is forcing people to engage. That's the conspiracy theory.
Okay.
They have used Trump to increase civic engagement. People were disenfranchised, had no confidence in government, weren't voting. All of a sudden, now they're voting. All of a sudden, everybody's involved. Sports teams are gone. Everybody's in politics now.
It's true.
If people stopped caring about the government and stopped paying attention, they would lose confidence in it and it would just fall apart. So there are some people who believe what we're seeing right now is meant to make it seem like Trump is the outsider underdog and he wins and it restores people's faith in the ability to save their country. But you don't think so. You got to look at your face.
Whoa. No. There is things about what you just said that I agree with and things that make me smirk and giggle a little bit. The fact that they would think that he's part of the deep state. Because, I mean, if you haven't noticed, I've been doing a lot of research and I'm furthering myself. I know a lot more than I did a few months ago. And one of those things that I've been researching is Trump. I want to know about the president. And I'm like finding out all these things about him that do not fit that narrative. Like that whole deep state thing. It's just,
why not?
I mean, he funded Jesse Jackson's run for president in the 90s. Do you know that? Like, I didn't know that. That's some new information.
How does that mean he's not deep state?
Well, I mean, he's a civil rights activist. Like, he cares about the people that are that do work.
But there are a lot of Democrats that are pro-establishment that are civil rights activists.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the argument of him being the deep state, it's like you can say anyone is. They can say that I am. Like anyone could be. It could be a conspiracy, but like I have yet to see any sort of proof of that sort. All I see is him being a humanitarian. Actually, like the things that he's done. Before he even ran for office.
It reminds me of the South Park episode on the 9/11 Truth Movement.
Okay.
Where the government. The real conspiracy was that the government was trying to convince everyone there's a conspiracy so that people think they're in control of everything. And then at the end, Kyle and Stan like realize, and George W. Bush is there, and they're like, wait a minute, you're lying? There is no conspiracy? You made the conspiracy up? And then there's like, he gives an explanation where he's like, we need people to think that we are all powerful. Otherwise, they actually will threaten us. I mean, come on. What if we told people that we actually lost control and a group of people in the cave were able to attack us and get away with it?
Yeah.
We can't have that. So we need people to think, it's like it's a funny thought.
Well, I always thought that America doesn't negotiate with terrorists. That's true, right? You've made it clear.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
And you've explained why.
Well, the kidnappers, at least in foreign countries.
I know, but the statement goes, America does not negotiate with terrorists, period. And I'm fairly certain every single person in America has just watched these people just terrorize and rip statues down and take over. And
they fell on bent knee.
Yeah,
it's my liege.
No, not everybody. Certainly not me, not you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's leaning towards the Democrats, to the Democratic side of things, but
dude, I'm not confident. I'm not, because the propaganda is so thick.
I agree.
And it's hard to break through.
Oh, I'm seeing it, man. On Facebook especially.
It's on Facebook, right?
With people that I don't associate with anymore. I've cut them out of my life. It's insane. The things that they've said to me.
What the far left does to get away, it's brilliant. We talked about this the other day, the death by 1,000 cuts.
Yep.
I think I don't know if I have it. I do actually have this article. It's called Creeping Normalcy. Creeping Normality, sorry. And it's the psychological idea of death by 1,000 cuts, a process by which a major change can be accepted as normal and acceptable if it happens slowly through small, often unnoticeable increments of change. The change could otherwise be regarded as objectionable if it took place in a single step or short period.
So the eBay color.
Yes.
Exactly, the
Was
eBay
it creeping
color.
Normality? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, creeping normality.
For those who don't know, eBay changed its colors and everyone freaked out. And then they switched it back right away, and then slowly over a year, right?
They added like one shade of white.
One shade.
And different. No one noticed that a year later it was the whole website had changed color.
Yep.
So this is what the far left has done very effectively. And it's funny when like there's a post going around from, oh man, I got to sidetrack real quick. There's a dude I know that I worked with, and he was a normal journalist, regular guy, not overly political, and he was trying to find his path, and he found something interesting one day when he responded to Donald Trump on Twitter.
Oh my.
He said something kind of not too crazy, and he got a ton of followers. And then he started doing it more and more.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden he had 10,000 followers. And then I started talking to him about it, and I was like, bro, I think you should knock this off, because these people aren't like real followers. You're not building a brand. You're actually becoming a laughingstock of the left and the right. Like, you're going to have no respect from people. You're going to lose your job. And he was like, I'm gaining a ton of followers, man. Like, people really like this. I was like, no, they don't.
Dopamine kicks.
Yeah. There are people on the right who started posting edgy memes, then started posting really offensive memes, but found that fringe group that kept cheering for them every time they would post something really, really edgy.
Yeah.
And then eventually they were just off the deep end and then banned outright because they went too far. The same thing happens on the left with like becoming a reply guy. And this person just goes off the deep end, slowly replying more and more, getting more followers, until finally they have a horrifying nickname, no respect, their career is over, and they're literally just the butt of a joke.
Yep.
So I forgot what the point I was going to make is before I got wrapped up on that.
I knew you would.
Yeah, because I was like, I gotta mention this part, because the reply guy thing really gets to me. You want people to smash the like button.
Do it.
That's all.
It's your punching
Smash
bag.
it. Smash it.
Smash it.
I love you.
But that's the career choice for some of these people, man.
Sorry.
Yeah. What were we talking about before I went off on that
I don't know.
tangent?
Biden.
Creeping
claim-
normality.
Creeping normality.
Yeah.
So I was talking to, the reason I brought this guy up was because there's a meme by him and people share it.
Okay.
Because, he's a reply guy.
Yeah. Of course.
And basically I got into a conversation about whether or not there is a far left in this country.
Okay.
Of course there is. The Democratic Socialists of America have over 70,000 members by latest reported numbers.
Yeah.
These are people who hold their meetings where, have you seen the DSA video?
Which one?
The one where they're like, point of personal privilege. Hi, my name is Tim, he, him. I just want to point out that the chattering in this room is really triggering, and I'm tired of people. Have you seen that video?
No.
Oh,
I don't know if I want to. Though.
Oh,
And then
I gotta watch it.
It's
I wanna
so
watch
it's so
everything.
funny because like the guy gets up and he goes, point of personal privilege. Could please keep the chatter to a minimum, guys, please. And then as soon as he says guys, you see someone get up and then go up to the microphone and go, stop using gendered language. That's actually what happened.
Wait. This isn't. I'm sorry. Wait. This wasn't like Saturday Night Live.
It's real.
It wasn't
It's real.
parody.
It's real.
Yeah. See,
It went viral. Everybody made fun of it.
Well,
But listen.
Not surprising. I mean, because it would something SNL would do to make fun of.
We got to talk about the
my
effectiveness of the insidiousness of what the far left has been able to accomplish. What is far left in terms of the economic scale? Far left is cooperative. Far right is competitive.
Okay.
So if the further left you go in terms of cooperative markets, it's communism, and the further right you go in terms of competitive markets, it's laissez-faire capitalism. So if you had someone who said, I think we should have a mixed economy. That's what America is. We're a mixed economy.
Yeah.
A large portion of our income goes in taxes, but then we have money of our choosing to spend. And so you have a bit of a command economy, but sort of a free market.
Yeah.
We lean slightly to the right in terms of our market structure. So what would far left be? From where we're standing, you could argue that far left relative to here is like if we taxed people at 75% or 80%. That would be far left.
That's a lot.
If you want to talk about the farthest left you can go, it would be overt communism.
Yeah. You don't even get paid. You just do your job and everyone gets the same amount of food, same amount of whatever.
Right. Well, I love these conversations I've had with people about this stuff. I actually got into it. I got into it with the British Socialist Party.
Oh goodness.
And boy, did it not work out well for them. Of course.
Yeah.
But so does the far left exist? Yes, there is a large group of people, 70,000 plus, not the biggest organization in the world, that advocate for abolishing capitalism outright. You can't go further left than that. That's it. On the economic scale, at least.
Right.
On the cultural scale, there is no real far. I'm sorry. There. No. On the economic scale, there's no far right.
Okay.
There's like Luke Rudkowski, I mentioned him earlier. There you go. You have
Okay.
a small group of like libertarian, like right-wing libertarian ANCAPs. But in terms of the major, large factions, not a particularly large group of right-wing, full-on laissez-faire capitalists relative to everything else. So What people call far right in this country is typically cultural far right, meaning traditionalist, and typically economically left. A lot of the people that have been called far right hold left-wing economic policy views. So they're basically posting these memes where they say there's no far left in this country. And then I say, well, certainly the DSA is far left, right? They propose abolishing profit. Like there's like they don't even know what profit means if they're going to say that.
Yeah.
They're basically trying to get rid of all monetary transactions, abolish capitalism, abolish police, abolish prisons, complete open borders, total globalization stuff. You can't get further left than these people.
No.
So yes, they literally exist. And there's a different question as to whether or not the left is more dangerous than the right. But I would say that the left is more effective in terms of their long-term strategy,
Okay.
which is psychological manipulation.
Like Ilhan Omar's speech.
Well,
Emotional.
yes. The
but
one where
subtly mentioning that we need to take down everything.
but she did it in a clever way. So for those who are not familiar, Ilhan Omar said that we need to dismantle systems of oppression.
Yeah.
And she said so long as the economic and political system of this country creates inequality, exists, it'll create inequality, and we must dismantle these systems of oppression wherever they exist. Something like that.
Yeah, basically.
So this is the clever this is a standard clever political tactic where if she came out right now and said, I would like to completely end capitalism and destroy the American government.
So
Yeah.
People would be like,
would you call that creeping normality?
yes.
In
That's
asking
exactly
I'm
the
just
point.
asking the question.
No, she wasn't asking the question.
Yeah.
She said it, but she made sure to say it in a way where she could have apologists defend her.
Right.
That's why I brought it up.
She
Yeah.
didn't say
that.
destroy. She was saying oppression.
Right. But she also made a point that it was like it's not just the police systems.
It's politics.
It's
It's
and then
economics.
because she stated that, and then she's continued on saying it's not just that, it's all forms of oppression, no matter where they lie. And it's like, what do you mean by that? What exactly are you talking about?
Well, so here's what worries me a bit. There's no, as far as I can tell, legit far right with political power. It's just not a thing. They say, oh, but Donald Trump. I'm like, come on, man.
He's a moderate. He's in the middle.
And the worst things about him you can criticize, but it's not policy. It's his behavior, it's his
Yeah,
attitude and stuff
his
like
tact,
that.
right.
But if we're going to go based on not our personal standards, I defer to Vox.com. Matthew Iglesias saying Trump was a moderate. And you look at the New York Times scale and it says the Republicans are center right, not far right.
Yep.
So here's what the left does. It's very clever. They have allies in media. They seed fake news. They create as many lies as possible to smear and defame you. And they all keep saying the lie over and over and over again. It works. So there are a few people that I'm friends with that I would consider progressive or leftist. Whenever I try and have a conversation publicly on like a Facebook comment, all of a sudden these far leftists will immediately jam up the entire conversation so everyone leaves. They make sure no one can talk.
Yep.
They start saying nonsensical things, name calling, they screech, they make threats. And then all of a sudden, everyone's like, I'm out. I'm out.
You want to know what I was told today? I tweeted this out earlier. Here, let me read it. I was blown away. I mean, I've referenced this conversation, this thread that I've had. It all started from me just saying, Happy July 4th to all my fellow Americans. I know we're not perfect, but 244 years ago, we laid the groundwork to fix anything that needs fixing, basically.
Yeah. To live free.
To live free. And people just started freaking out and attacking me, which led to this one particular person said this to me, said, let us lead. Let us tell you what we need without you having a dissenting opinion or arguing with us, period. Just listen to us without speaking for once, amplify our voices, and do what we are telling you we need you to do, period.
Well, that's the superliminal, to quote The Simpsons, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys know the Simpsons reference, but it's that episode where Bart is in that boy band and they're singing Ivan et Niage, which is join the Navy backwards.
Right.
Not a very particularly hidden message. And then when Lisa finds out, she talks to like the band manager who's actually a recruiter who's like, we have 3 strategies: subliminal, liminal, and superliminal. And then she's like, superliminal? And he goes, yes. And then he opens a window and yells to Lenny and Carl, hey, you, join the Navy. And they're like, okay. And then like later you see them getting on the bus, like joining the Navy or something like that.
Yeah.
But that like what they're telling you right there is overt. They're
Right.
telling you to your face, they're telling you we've taken the ground, and we
Yep.
can pull the mask off and just tell you outright you are to be subjugated by us.
That's what
you
I'm
will
saying.
do as you're told.
It's like, no way.
But so how do they get other people to support them and stand behind their calls to action? These are the tactics used by the far left to suppress cancel culture, for one. We will destroy your job. I actually had a guy threaten to call my employer today, and it was like, I'm not kidding.
That's amazing.
You just give him the number.
I was like, do you know anything about me?
Do you realize who I am?
So listen, I got into I had a really great conversation actually with so on a Facebook post with somebody I know. We've had a lot of great conversations. This person's rather progressive, and then sometimes we'll take it to like a private messenger, and I'll be like, that was a really great point. I appreciate your time, and then we're like, have a nice day. So I made a comment about the far left being legit, a real threat, the things they've asked for, and somebody responded who was extremely out of his mind, and so I just ignored it. Another guy responded, made some really good points about the existence of the far left and the far right, pointing out the Democratic Party right now, and for a long time, has never been ideological.
Okay.
And the conservatives, the Republican Party, has actually been ideological for a long time, meaning that the Republican Party has conservatives. They rally around their ideologies, their view of America, their beliefs.
Traditional.
And to an extent, right?
Yeah.
But typically it's basically like this idea of America first, Trumpism, they're unified. The Democrats are a loose coalition of random groups that kind of just agree to vote certain ways if it benefits them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's actually a good point. If you look at the Hidden Tribes report, you'll see that conservatives are 25% of this country, progressives are 8%. And then most people who vote Democrat are exhausted majority, they say, or default or uninitiated.
Okay.
The average person voting Democrat isn't really active or paying attention. And so what they argued was...
That was me.
Yeah.
That was me.
They argued that
I was.
now that the Democratic Party has found an ideology, it's starting to grow and become more visible. And I'm like, it didn't completely disagree with the point I was making. But it made it, this individual made a good point. We had a great conversation.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, that's actually really, really smart. Showed me data and everything. And I'm like, I completely agree.
Yeah.
There was a really interesting point about the Democratic Party coming from the Civil War and how they've always voted for what was considered to be more progressive, regardless of what progressive meant. At a certain point, progressive meant eugenics in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
So the Republican Party, based on this graph that was sent to me by a political researcher, this guy was a researcher, really fascinating. The Republican Party has always been slightly conservative. Always. But the definition of conservative changes. They've just stayed true to, like, in terms of the relative society, the Democrats fluctuate like crazy and the Republicans kind of stay where they are.
Okay.
So even to this day, they are not far right. They've never been far right. They've always been fairly, moderate.
Yeah.
And we see that we see that data presented by Pew Research, for instance. But anyway, this other guy, man.
Oh yeah. Tell
He's
me about
like,
it.
you will be first against the wall.
Wow.
Wait,
This again.
wait until it happens, blah, blah, blah. And then out of nowhere, he's like, and he's like, you should be afraid, and I'm going to call your employers. I said, I'm going to call the people who employ you. And I was like, there it is. This guy doesn't know who I am at all.
Cancel culture. I'm coming after you, Tim.
That was
Try
a
that
threat.
with me.
Listen.
Try to call my employer. Get me
Right.
canceled.
This is the point.
Good luck.
This is the point I'm making about the far left and their tactics.
Yeah.
Cancel culture is real. They know it's real, and they know they can go to the average person and say, I'm going to call your boss, and they'll get scared.
Yep.
And they'll be like, no, please.
And that's why all the polls say Biden's winning.
Perhaps.
Because everyone's like, yeah, I'm voting for Biden. Click.
I loved it though. I was like, who employs me?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I wish someone would try that with me.
You call me?
I'd be like, here you go. Here's his number.
Yep.
I wouldn't give out
You
your number.
know,
but-
you know what I would do if someone tried canceling you or Lydia or anybody?
Yeah,
What?
tell us.
us,
Yeah,
please.
I insist.
You'd smash the like button?
No.
Here you go. We got.
I would
No?
respond
Oh.
by saying, sir or madam, I take these concerns very seriously. I am shocked that those words would come out of Adam's mouth, and he never told me. I'm going to give him a raise. I'm really impressed with what he was saying.
Say, I hear a raise.
Didn't Cassandra get a raise for from her paper?
Oh yeah.
She did, yeah.
So for those that don't know, Cassandra Fairbanks works for Gateway Pundit, but she also has her own paper. And like someone threatened to cancel her.
They
And-
hit up the paper.
Yeah, they
They were bombarding her paper.
Her own-
Cancel Cassandra.
And she responded from her corporate account saying, we're shocked and appalled by this. We're absolutely going to take action immediately by giving her a raise and a bunch of exclamation points.
Genius.
But here's the point I'm making, right? They know, like we mentioned, creeping normality.
Yeah.
The far left knows They can threaten you with violence, and you can do anything. Here's what they do. They don't say something like, I will hurt you.
Right.
What they say is, next time I see you, you should be very worried about the people who and what they'll do to you. They make sure they don't cross the line to making an overt threat.
It's an indirect threat,
but
basically.
they want you to feel threatened.
Right.
And actually, this person may have broken the law because of the jurisdiction they're in. But then they do things like cancel culture. Hey, I'm also going to call your boss. What am I supposed to say to that? Even if I had a job, let's say I worked at McDonald's, am I going to be like, oh no, I'm so sorry, I agree with you now.
Right.
I will delete my posts. Like, what do they think is going to happen? But it shows that they really do view this low-tier terrorism as an effective tool. It's death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, cancel culture.
We're
It's their new machine gun.
We are at a point now where they know you can't call their boss because they won't do anything.
Yeah.
Like the easiest example, you got a video of a dude walking with a 6-year-old daughter in New York City.
Terrible video.
Shot, killed. No riots, no protests, no brand message.
Nope.
No flags, no Facebook, nothing. Because if it doesn't fit their institutional control, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that really pisses me off. That video tears me apart. That tore me up watching that video.
Yeah, it's messed up. So here's what happens. If you are not in league with their ideology, and if I were to call this guy's boss and say he's threatening me, they're going to be like, I don't care.
I told someone about that. I was making these. I was having a private conversation with somebody from this thread, who is a closer friend of mine, talking about these things that are happening, and he didn't believe it. Where did you get your information from?
Yeah.
I saw the video with my own eyes. Oh, on YouTube? Oh, you saw it on YouTube? Well, YouTube isn't a credible source. It's more of a social media platform. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I saw the video. I watched the girl run away.
Yeah.
Like, how is that? How is that not like something that actually happened? How? Explain to me why you're not in outrage right now.
Because
change can happen.
They want to hear from some woke journalist that it happened.
Yeah.
And they'll believe it.
Yeah.
Well, so here's what happens. If I call this guy's boss and say he's threatening me, they're going to be like, I'm sorry about that, but what do you want us to do about it? If he calls, like a theater worker's boss, for instance, and says they were, saying all these things, the theater is going to be like, we're so sorry, we'll fire them immediately. Because they, people know what you're allowed to criticize and what you're not allowed to criticize. Case in point, let me see if I have this tweet right here. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now legal for you to paint a political message that supports Black Lives Matter. And if you paint over it, that is a hate crime. We now have this breaking story from KCBS 106.9. The Martinez couple caught on video painting over the approved Black Lives Matter mural are being charged with a hate crime. Wow. That's from the Contra Costa County District Attorney's Office. Yep, hate crime.
Wow.
It is a hate crime. So here's my concern. First, the mural was approved by the city.
Yep.
Why is the city approving people's right to paint on the street?
Yeah, I don't understand it. What pisses me off is we talked about this yesterday after the show. You can burn an American flag legally.
Yep.
But if you burn a rainbow flag,
it's a hate crime.
That's a hate crime.
Yes, it is.
How is burning an American flag not a hate crime? You are basically saying you hate America.
That's not what hate crime means.
Oh, minorities, right? Is that what it is?
Protected classes.
Protected classes.
Yep. So if you burn an American flag, they will cheer for you and say free speech. And if you burn a rainbow flag, they will say hate speech. And it's a hate crime. So that's actually because the argument is
outrageous.
That by burning the rainbow flag, you're intimidating a protected class. So there is a difference, though. I want to make sure I'm clear. In the specific case where this came up, it was because the guy burned the rainbow flag and then threw it in front of a gay bar, I think.
Oh, okay.
And so they argued that was, intimidation. However, the argument is that people routinely burn flags at public events for people who support America, and it's not. So there's got to be.
Yeah. Well, what's a bigger platform than the internet now? That is the largest platform that we have access to. Everyone has access to it. So it's much bigger than one bar. It reaches everybody. Anyone can share it, and it can reach anyone. So what's the difference? It's a hate crime.
The burning the American flag?
All of them.
Well,
either make it all illegal or none of it.
National origin is a protected class.
Oh, like American.
So then it is a hate crime.
So if you're burning the American flag specifically to make a point to intimidate or shock people from America, which I'd argue makes sense.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure national origin is protected. You want to look that up? National origin.
Yeah, I think it is.
1964.
It should either all be legal or all be illegal. I'm
Well,
sick of this hypocrisy. It's ridiculous.
That's liberalism.
Yeah.
The true definition, not the colloquial, like I really hate when people call the left liberals. They are not liberals. They
I
have
know.
not been liberals for a very, very long time.
I don't think they know the true meaning of liberal.
So
Enlighten us, Tim.
Well, liberal is a wide encompassing view that basically means government by the consent, through the consent of the governed.
Okay.
Which means that the true definition of the word, it's why you hear people say they're classical liberals.
Okay.
So this is a reference to like the early American Revolution. Conservatives, so the United States is what's called a liberal democracy. It's not a reference to being leftist or being a democracy. It's a reference to the institutions we use, democratic voting process, and liberalism in the sense that we give our consent to be governed.
Okay.
To varying degrees. I know a lot
Right.
of people are like, I don't agree with taxes, it's theft. It's like, but we were born here in a system that was already created, so we can have that argument. But typically, Western countries are called liberal democracies.
Yeah.
The left is anti-liberal. They are illiberal. Okay, illiberal meaning they don't believe in free speech. They don't believe in individual freedoms. They don't believe that the consent of the governed is required for the government to tell them what to do.
Well, you can speak free if you believe exactly the way they do.
Yeah.
So this is
That's
actually listen, the liberalism thing is all it all makes sense. These are people who believe that the world will end because of climate change, because individuals refuse to adhere to the way they see the world. So if you got that aluminum can right there, well, why don't you use recyclable bamboo, cans or whatever or something?
Actually,
right?
those metal cans are very, very recyclable.
Oh, but the recycling process produces a ton of CO2. If you used bamboo, it could be biodegradable.
I'm sure all of their computers that they're tweeting on are even more detrimental.
Excuse me, I'm more effective this way.
Oh my
How
gosh.
dare you, bigot? I'm allowed to do these things and you're not. That's illiberalism.
Right.
Rules for thee, but not
Yeah,
for me.
exactly.
I'm seeing it everywhere.
So these people are like, they really think this way. I should be able to, I should be able to use computers because I'm fighting to save the world. And if only these other people stopped, the world would be saved.
Yeah.
So they want to be the kings, so they can force you to live in a bamboo hut with a loincloth and no technology. Oh, they'll have the technology to make sure everyone lives properly the way they see fit.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But that's literally what the far left advocates for. It is the opposite of liberal. So right now you have, I think it's funny whenever you see people arguing about what is or isn't the factions of the culture war.
Okay.
And it really is just, I love it. I really do love it. First of all, one of the first things I heard is, I think it was Milo Yiannopoulos who said this. It's authoritarianism versus libertarianism. You have the authoritarian factions who want to tell you how to live your life, and then you have the libertarian factions who want to respect individuality and stuff like that. I think that makes a lot of sense.
I do too.
But then I've heard people say that's not true. It's the nationalists versus the globalists. And I'm like, I actually don't agree with that because I'm not like an overt nationalist in that sense, but maybe that makes sense a little bit.
I mean, everyone's different. This is the issue. Everyone wants to put everyone on this like in each thing. No. I mean, everyone can be different. Everyone can have a little bit of aspects of everything. It's like it's whether you're letting your emotions control it or the logical side of it control it.
Someone else's definition of what the factions of the culture war is.
You're absolutely right. And there's different versions of that for every single person. We are all different.
Then when you listen to the academic intellectual dark web types, they say the culture war is between groups with a postmodern worldview of subjective truth versus those who believe in objective reality.
Okay.
And I'm like, these are all kind of true.
Right.
But it's like, maybe that's just
Kind
not
of.
like one faction and one faction. Maybe it's like an umbrella and an umbrella, and there's agreements. Because like, I don't base my identity around nationalism. I do love America, but I don't
Same.
walk around thinking like, oh no, they're threatening to dissolve our borders and stuff. My thing is more about individual freedoms, respect, whether it's in this country or anyone else's.
Yeah.
The cancel culture extends to the UK. I have friends in the UK who are subjected to this stuff. But then there are people whose identity is purely based on nationalism and protecting America. And so we might find that we agree on many issues because of what America stands for.
Yeah.
And then their view is like, here's what cancel culture really is. Ultimately, what I think cancel culture comes down to is whether or not you believe in, I believe authoritarian versus libertarian is the best way to view it. I really do.
Yeah.
Because, you end up with like Dave Rubin, a gay married man, classical liberal, having a sit-down conversation with Ben Shapiro, an Orthodox Jew, where Ben straight up says, I don't agree with, how you live your life, and their friends having a conversation in complete disagreement. And that's what, you can see two people who clearly are of different factions
Right.
in agreement about what's more important to them, living peacefully together, versus what the other side is trying to do to them, you know?
Tear
So
it all down.
it's really interesting when you look at, there was a graph charting Clinton voters and Trump voters. Trump voters were ideologically across the spectrum, except for social justice, like intersectionalism.
Of course.
Clinton voters were clustered almost entirely. And so among the Trump's base, you had some people who were, you had half conservative, half liberal on economic policy and cultural policy. When it came to Hillary Clinton, it was like a huge far left cluster of intersectionality and like racial justice stuff.
What a surprise.
Yeah. So I think that makes sense. Trump won with a weird coalition they did not expect he could pull off.
Oh man, I saw a video today of all the pundits talking about how it was a joke. He's a clown. Can't believe he's running.
Kanye?
No, Trump. This was like 2015.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
Of
it's
course.
hilarious.
One of the most
It's
classic
hilarious.
clips is when Ann Coulter was on Bill Maher.
Yes, exactly.
It's
I
like,
saw that.
of the Republicans running now, who do you think has a chance to win? And she goes, of them now, Donald Trump. And then everyone laughs.
And she held her ground though. She was
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
I'm serious. Like, I was like,
Why are you
man, she
laughing?
called it. Everybody.
Hey, man, but pay attention to what she's saying because she has not been too kind to Trump.
Yeah.
No.
No way.
Mm.
Yeah, she's been tearing into him. So I have to wonder about some of these higher profile people who may be in on the know and maybe seeing some inner dialogue, like inner circle dialogues. What do they really know? Maybe Trump isn't going to win.
Who
Listen,
knows?
man, in 2016, I was like, there's no way they would let Trump win.
Well, I didn't vote in 2016. A lot of people are telling me they didn't vote ever. They didn't vote for many years. Doesn't matter. I'm hearing it all the time. Thanks for standing up. Thanks for saying that. I've never voted, but I'm absolutely voting. I'm absolutely paying attention.
I hear you.
You're right,
Listen.
though. It forced everyone to be political, to be into this. And I mean, everyone's seeing the crazy hypocrisy that's happening from COVID to the.
That's true.
You're not allowed to
The
go
riots.
to churches. They're canceling church. Like, really, you can't go to church. You can't
Can't
sing.
sing.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not very religious, but man, this is a free country, and you should be able to go worship whoever you want to worship.
Well,
So the hypocrisy is driving me crazy, and I know it's driving a lot of others crazy.
well, all that may be, Adam.
Yeah.
But the one thing you're forgetting is, will they cheat?
An election?
Yep.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I every single time I look over that ballot right there, and then I think about how Biden's making it a big deal that Trump's gonna cheat. Trump's gonna cheat. Trump's like, no, I'm gonna.
Setting the stage.
I'll leave. Like, no, I'm good.
And
If
what
I
if-
lose, I lose.
And what if they cheat? Look, today's election
How
day.
would we know?
Listen.
How would we know? That's
I'll
my
tell
question.
I'll tell you. Today's election day.
Uh-huh.
I got a primary ballot application, mail-in ballot application.
Okay.
I received no notice for what it was for.
Okay.
I had no idea why I received it. There was no notice in the mail saying, here's a big explanation of what's happening, why it's happening, and here's what you need to do. So one day I see we have mail. What is it? An official mail-in ballot sitting right there for someone who does not live here,
Yeah.
who didn't request one. I get an application. I do live here. Today's election day. I didn't vote. You know why? I had no idea where to go and I couldn't figure it out.
Really?
Well, first of all, I have very little time throughout the day. I have a window of like 2 hours after my first session and we start preparing for this show. So once I finished, I went to the website where they were like, here's where all the information you need. Nothing was there. Then someone said it's all mail-in voting. There's no ballot boxes anymore. That leads me to believe it's possible we won't see record voter turnout. We'll see record low voter turnout. How many people are like, I have no idea how to do this? Look, man, when I voted before, they're like, I would wake up and they'd be like, it's voting day. And then I would make a phone call or go online and be like, here's your voting location. I walk in, there's the sign. I walk up, now I can vote.
Yeah.
Today, I have no idea what's going on.
It should be a holiday.
Well, you can make that argument, but the point is, I don't know where to go.
Yeah.
The website was down. The website didn't work.
Of
And
course.
so I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Not
Yeah.
like I care to vote anyway, vote. I guess vote in the Democratic primary.
Yeah. Harold, wait. Give me that button right now.
Which one?
I need to hit that button
We have a special surprise
for this right now.
But you got to hold it up to the
I
microphone.
will. Oh, I will. Can I get my zoom in shot?
Tim has to do that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready for this?
How dare you?
Yes.
Someone sent us that.
Do it
Do
again.
it again.
How dare you?
How dare I what? Not vote?
How dare you?
So we actually need to get the sound bar with like the good, but somebody did this recording where you press it.
How dare you?
It's pretty good.
It's
Whoever sent
awesome.
that to us, thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank
It
you
is
very
a
much.
Greta Thunberg "How dare you" button. We gotta get the soundboard going. What are we doing?
Well, we
should
have
be hard to do.
priorities.
I know,
we're
I know.
we're
We got stuff to
about to
do.
move. We're prepping on moving.
I didn't know what I was gonna vote for anyway. It's primary day. There's a couple people running for the Democratic primary in our district. I don't really care all that much, to be honest. I was like, I would go and vote, at the last minute if I knew what to do. But considering it was like, I don't know, so I guess I'm not gonna go.
Yeah.
So my question is, you look, in 2016, I was talking to some personalities, some finance personalities, who told me that they thought, because they were in Europe at the time, based on the media reports, Trump was a clown joke that everyone hated, and they thought Clinton had it in the bag.
Ooh, earthquake.
I think you just hit the camera.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just totally knocked the camera.
I didn't do that.
it's all good.
That was a cat.
Can you?
I'll fix.
Yeah,
you
I
got
can
it.
fix
Okay.
it. Yeah.
So they were in Europe at the time, and they saw all the media reports saying Hillary Clinton was going to win.
Yeah.
Then they came back to the United States, actually landed. Go this way, left. A little bit more. A little more. There you go.
Well, a little less.
So hold on. When they got here, it's fine.
Okay.
When they got here, they saw the Trump signs everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when they realized Trump was going to win, and then Trump won. That point, I think, is interesting when you bring up when you drive around here, this blue district.
Yep.
It's like D+13, I think.
Yep.
You drive around here and you see all the Trump signs.
I never saw a Biden sign. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, there's no Biden signs, man.
Oh, I saw Trump signs. There's Trump signs around the neighborhood.
Whoa. I wonder if like a Biden sign is a rare collector's item. Like it might be worth money already.
Maybe so.
Because I've never seen one.
That's funny.
Has anybody listening seen a Biden sign?
I have not.
I'm not
I
kidding.
haven't.
I'm
No,
not,
I'm
not joking.
Trying to figure it out. I'm like, no, I don't
Somebody
think so.
planted a Trump flag in the lake by our house.
Yeah, man.
No, it's true.
And it's not a real lake you can actually go on. It's like a drainage ditch.
Yeah, it's like a bog.
Yeah, it's like a bog. Somebody went out there and planted a Trump flag.
Yeah.
But the reason I bring up this story for 2016 is that even though there were people that were like, wow, as soon as I saw that, I realized he'd win. My mentality the whole time was like, they'll never let him win. I do not view like the system as, I don't know, fair. These people are all super wealthy, do nothing, crony, corrupt. I view the whole system as broken and corrupt, full of corrupt incumbents.
Yep.
And then
I
somehow
agree.
Trump won. A lot of these old crony, corrupt Republicans have retired or quit. I'm out. Just ditching it.
There's plenty of Democrats that have been around for 50 years.
Yeah, the system is just being occupied by lazy do-nothings who are just like, it's, the keys to the castle.
No, and they're raking in money from lobbyists and stuff.
Listen, man.
Sitting, changing laws for whatever they feel like, basically.
Trump wants to pull our troops out of Afghanistan.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Everybody's resisting it.
Wow.
I cannot imagine they would let him win.
Right.
Whatever that means, I have no idea. But how could Trump possibly win in the face of a military-industrial complex and crony politicians that are blocking him from bringing our troops home?
2 words. Red pill.
What do you mean?
Everyone's getting red pilled. People are home from COVID. They're not working.
But
They're
the Democrats did
They're
that.
paying attention. Exactly my point. Yes, I know they did.
It's gonna backfire.
Everyone's at home going, what are the Democrats doing? What's going on in these Democrat cities?
Why would they do it?
Why?
Yeah, why would they do it?
Because they think that it's like when Bernie lost in 2016, right? The DNC knew that he took Hillary's voter base away from her, right? So if Bernie wasn't there, Hillary might have won, right? It was a much higher chance that she would have won if the Bernie supporters if Bernie was never a part of the situation, right?
I think it's possible.
No, I know.
We talked about the other day.
Yeah, that's what I'm referencing
Right.
that conversation. We talked about that. So you know, it's
They started pandering to the far left.
that's my point. They started pandering because they wanted that grassroots. They were like, oh, maybe that is what works. And you just said, you know, it's a big bubble of SJWs that's who her voter base was already. And then
Hillary Clinton?
Hillary Clinton, right? So
No, I don't think Hillary's was.
No, that's what you just said earlier.
What do you mean?
When you were comparing Trump versus Hillary in the 2016 election, and Trump's supporters were all over the place with their ideologies, whereas Hillary,
that's
Hillary,
the opposite.
what?
The conservatives have an ideology. The left didn't.
No. But you were talking specifically about Hillary versus Trump and how all the Trump supporters were kind of all over the place, but Hillary's supporters were all in this little bubble. I'm referencing what you just told me
The Democratic voter
20
base,
minutes ago.
So on the graph of economic left and right,
Yes.
Trump's was both liberal and conservative.
Okay, so now moving forward, now we're in 2020. They're going, it's election year. We need to whip up all this grassroots, you know, movement. Get Black Lives Matter. You know, there's this whole conspiracy about the Act Blue funding. You know, that's funding Biden's campaign. You know, it's like all this stuff. It's like they're leaning in as hard as possible to try to get as many of these youth. You know, you see Pelosi saying we should lower the voting age to 16. It's like, I'm 36. I didn't know what I was doing politically until yesterday.
And 18 is where we're at.
18. I had no clue.
They would capture a lot of votes if they lowered it to 16.
I know, and they know it.
Voter turnout among the youth is extremely low.
Right.
But it's still more votes from the youth bracket if you get 2 more years.
Right, so that's what I'm seeing.
That's
seeing
ridiculous.
That's what this is all. It's all them leaning in to try to get to scoop in as many of these, the SJW group, the minorities, the people that feel they're homeless. You know. What do you got, Lydia?
I think this would backfire on them because I was reading a statistic earlier about how high schoolers are the most patriotic demographic. They don't change until they get into college for some reason. Yes, that's true.
I saw that. Yeah.
Interesting.
I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, college is where all of a sudden they get the white nationalist haircuts.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
I don't know.
All the women.
I don't get it.
Why is it that all the women on the left have the same haircut as like the far right
Richard
or whatever?
Spencer, yeah.
I don't
get
know
it.
if far right makes sense. I hate using that term because it doesn't really I don't know, whatever
They
groups.
shave their heads.
They pull the hair up and then
Yeah.
shave the side.
I don't know.
And it's like maybe it's because
it's a masculine look. They want, you know, we've talked about sex versus like male versus female a couple times. You know how like when you're younger, a female has more opportunities, and then it goes down as you go, and then the man, it's different.
Exactly.
So as they get older, they see older men are more privileged in a sense. You know, more they get more. So it's not surprising to know that as they get older, they're like, well, I want a piece of that. I'm losing what I had, and now I'm getting older, and I'm losing some of that aspect of youth. I mean, not even yet, but you know, you can kind of see how it would play a part. They want to be a little more masculine in a sense.
what makes them so angry? You know?
Well, because most parents probably don't teach them that life sucks and you have to work hard.
But life doesn't
snowplow
suck.
parents. Yes, it does. If you aren't prepared for it, if you think you're entitled to everything, it sucks.
I don't think.
But if you
no.
you know you got to work for it, if you got to get out into life and actually do work, wake up every day and actually work towards something, then it's not that hard because it's something you're used to. But when your parents are like, "Oh no, we got this. Let me clear all of the problems away from you. Life is amazing."
Right, I get what
Of
you're
course
saying,
it
but
sucks then.
But no, whether or not you are happy or sad has nothing to do with your abilities. It has to do with whether you're optimistic or pessimistic.
Okay.
These people have become the ultimate pessimists.
Well, yeah, of course, because they grew up thinking that it was going to be easy for them.
No. It's everything's evil. Everyone's racist. The world is pure evil. America is a Nazi empire. They view everything through the lens of pure evil and darkness, and so they're extremely just angry. But it doesn't explain where the anger comes from. Why are they so angry?
It's an addiction. They're addicted to that anger. It's like an avalanche with a snowball that's slowly growing and growing of anger in colleges and whatever, and it's running over the people that are getting to college.
They want to be angry.
They want to be angry, and they're like,
Feels
"Oh,
good.
I can jump into this snowball that's just getting bigger and bigger with the people that are angry also." And so they're spreading that message. Come be angry with us. Let's go be angry together at the system that is trying to bring us down. It's like, Well, you don't even want to work for it. You just want to be angry. Let go of the anger and do some work.
That's that comic where the guy's like, I'm mad.
Yep.
The guy's like, here's a solution. I don't want a solution. I want to be angry.
Exactly.
They do want to be angry.
I know. That's what I see.
You know, I was told this when I was a kid. Some people, they like being unhappy.
Definitely.
They like it. And when I was little, I didn't quite understand.
Yeah.
It seems like to a child's mind paradoxical. How could you like not liking something? No. You have to understand the complexities. That negative feeling when they wake up and they wallow in self-pity.
Yep.
It's satisfying to them in some capacity.
Well, and when you come across the first person that sees that and goes, "Oh, let me help you. Let me be there for you." It feels so good.
No, I disagree.
How does that not make sense?
When you try engaging with these people who are screaming, they don't respond by being happy.
You're not engaging to these people like that, sir. No. I'm talking about that snowball. That snowball that's rolling down.
Listen,
they're the ones that are going to the people that are victims in their own perception.
When I have these interviews and conversations out on the street,
you are not that person.
Yes, you seriously do not understand the past 10 years of my life. When I would go down to these parks, when I was in Occupy Wall Street, and someone would start ranting about oppression and stuff, and I would be like, "I hear you, man. I'm so sorry that happens to you." They respond with more anger.
Okay.
Straight up. I was talking to one very high profile Black Lives Matter person.
Sure.
Who was doing this big rant. Someone tagged me in it for some reason because it was something I covered.
Okay.
And I responded by saying directly to the guy, "I hear you, man. I'm sorry about those experiences. Tell me what's going on."
Okay.
And his response was to condemn me and just go angrier times 10. I have been on the ground where I've interviewed people where they're like really, really angry, and I'm like, "Would you like to tell me like what's going on?" No, because you're part of the problem, screaming. And I'll be like, I'm sorry. I had no idea. No, don't tell me you're sorry. You're not sorry. They get angrier and angrier.
Okay, that doesn't prove me wrong. That's you personally. I'm talking about as a whole. I'm talking about the average.
They do not feel satisfaction when you calmly talk to them and be nice to them. They'll feel satisfaction when you cry and cower in fear and say, "Please don't take my job from me." Then they're satisfied.
But you aren't a victim. You don't walk around as a victim. It takes a victim to go, "Oh, I'm a victim too. I understand." That's not where you come. Dude, you're confident. I'm sorry, you cannot hide your confidence ever, no matter what. Same with me. I can't hide that. I'm a confident person. Hold on, no. You're a confident person. You walk up to that person and you say, "Man, I feel you." They see that confidence. They don't see you as a victim, and they go, "You know what? That's a lie. I don't believe you at all."
That's the point. The point is
exactly what my point is. Yes, thank you.
That when these people are screaming, and then you finally come up to them and give them, what they're looking for.
Whoa! I didn't say necessarily you. I wasn't saying it like that.
You're talking about this behavior of trying to accommodate them or empathize does not result in what you're saying it results in.
Yeah, because it's the victims. It's the ones that group together. They're the ones that are like, "I feel you because I'm a victim for sure. I'm totally a victim. I'm vulnerable."
No, this is not what happens. The only way to actively function in the circle with these people not screaming is to say literally nothing or to cry.
You can't start this conversation by saying, "I don't understand how this happens," and then finish it by going, "That's wrong. That's not the way it is. I'm sorry. No."
But I'm right.
Okay.
I've been on the ground.
Agree to disagree.
I've covered this for over a decade.
Okay.
You're sitting here telling me.
I'm not telling you anything. I'm telling you what my view of what this is. You said, "I don't understand this." I said, "This is what I think it is."
Right.
Okay.
So when
Period.
So right now you're being the anti-vaxxer.
Okay.
I've got experience on the ground. I was embedded with these groups for years.
Sure.
And I'll tell you exactly what happens, why it happens, what they've said to me, explain these things, and everything I've seen over the past 9 years.
And your confidence is undeniable, man.
And I'm not even talking about myself. I'm talking about in general, when you're at a protest and you see a woman walk up to another woman who's screaming and she's like, "Are you okay?" And the woman goes, "Get the F away from me, you effing," and screams in her face.
Okay.
When you see two women who start fighting each other in a park, when Antifa fights themselves, when they try to cancel each other, the only thing that works around these people is saying and doing nothing. When they start screaming and ranting and they're full of rage, people just stand there and nod. And that's it. There's nothing you can say to them.
Okay.
They don't want a solution. They want to be angry.
But this is in Occupy. You went
I'm not
to
talking specifically about
so
Occupy.
we're talking about colleges, right? After high school, they get indoctrinated in the college situation, right? That's what we're discussing. This is where I was at. This is what I'm talking about. So this is what I think is going on. So you were saying that you went to colleges. You've seen that in colleges where all this is happening.
Like when Nick Christakis was talking to the kids on...
No. I'm talking about you personally.
Yes. And I've been to Berkeley and I've been to Syracuse and a bunch of other universities while this stuff was going down. And I've witnessed this firsthand and experienced it when I tried doing similar things.
Okay.
And there's a really good example in Nick Christakis, the professor, who was accused of being a bigot because he said something about Halloween costumes. And they surrounded him. And no matter what he said to them, even when he said, "I'm so sorry, I agree," they said, "Shut up, you don't speak." And they yelled at him no matter what he would do. And that was a very famous viral moment. And there are many more with professors like him where you cannot say anything to these people at all.
Okay.
And they tell you that. Or the guy at Evergreen, when he's talking, waving his hands, and they tell you to stop waving your hands, it's racist. And then he does, and they all laugh at him.
But these are the people that are already in the circle. They're already indoctrinated. They're the ones that are already speaking out, that are already angry. They're the ones that are already in these groups. That's who you're referring to right now.
It's like a group of kids.
But how does it happen? How do they catch the new people? By the people that are just standing on the side, just shaking their head yes, and then they suddenly snap and turn into it?
Well, that's the question I'm asking. What makes them so angry?
And that's what I was referring to.
What were you saying that makes them angry?
Well, no. I was saying what brings them into it. Yeah, what makes them angry is they're everything pisses them off. Everything. They thrive in that anger. So what?
Bill de Blasio's daughter.
Okay.
Like you've referenced her before, right?
I mean, I only in the fact that she went into college looking one way and exited college looking like crazy eyes. I don't know anything about her. Who am I to say anything about her? Because that's the only thing I know about her is that she looked completely different after high school. And that she's now an activist in New York.
It's a meme.
Right.
You know, they say college, not even once.
I see the meme, yeah.
And they show like people before college and after college. What happens to where normal people, and I know people like this, who all of a sudden can't stop and have a conversation because they're dialed to 11 nonstop. No matter what they do, no matter what you say, everything's at 11.
Have you heard the elephant mind versus the rider mind?
No.
I just watched this earlier. Really good little back and forth interview with Carlin, and it was great. And basically, what it means is the elephant mind is your emotional side, and the rider mind is basically being controlled by the elephant until you finally rein it in and you gain control of your more rational side, the more logical side of the human brain. And it seems to me that these people are, it's basically like the reins of the elephant per se has been, they broke. They have the reins in their hands. They're holding it really tight, but it broke, and the elephant is just running rampant. There's no stopping it. It's like a stampede. That's what I see that's happening. That anger is run unchecked for so long, backing off or bouncing off rather other people that are equally angry, making it more anger, and that anger just is getting perpetuated into this like hot mess, and that's what we're seeing. You know, it's like it's so easy to want to be lazy, to blame others for your problems. People want to do that, especially when we're growing up without parents. You know, we want to be a part of something. So you get to college, you're finally out of the home, which might not have even been a good situation. Boom, they hit, you know, this crowd of people that, I mean, you're pissed off. Now you're angry. Like, I have to go do work. I have to like get up and actually do stuff, like whatever. I mean, not everybody. Some people just drink their whole college careers, but, you know, others just get angry. So
I think it's specifically no parents.
Yeah, maybe it is. I mean, the statistics don't lie. It's absolutely, if you have no parents or a one-parent home, like I've looked into this now, and you're absolutely right.
I mean, like weak parents.
True.
And
yeah.
so it's
parents that aren't even there. I mean, what's the difference? You know, if you're not raising your kids, if you hand them an iPad, that's not raising your kids. That's them learning and doing the algorithm till they get, you know, dancing Hitler, right?
Yeah.
It's like crazy.
It's like somebody flicked a switch in their brains that can't be turned off.
Yep.
And they're just wads of anger and rage. Mm-hmm. You ever seen the video? It's called "This Video Will Make You Angry" by CGP Grey.
No, I haven't seen it.
He basically talks about how internet communities breed hatred.
Okay.
And it become like, you know, what's funny is because he basically predicted all of this was going to happen. the culture war, for instance. And he talks about how groups don't actually argue against each other. They argue amongst themselves about the other group.
Okay.
And they keep exaggerating the claims until they've become so enraged that they're just wads of anger. And that, you know, they talk about how video, and he talks about video and social media stuff, how it plays into this. Mm-hmm. So memes, for instance, circulate among groups about the other group, and they never actually interact. So I don't know. It's an interesting idea. But the reason I was bringing this up is because I remember that video of the white woman yelling at the black cop.
Yeah.
And the guy approaches her and he was like,
you know, he's a black cop, right?
Or it was a woman, right? And the guy says, like, what makes you think this is okay? And the woman's eyes.
Oh man, fervent. She was
like,
how dare? Well, you can always tell too, because they don't start with a tone of voice like this. It always is up here.
At 11.
It's 11.
Always.
It's like they're on meth.
Screeching, like, you know, you can see the heart is pumping, the adrenaline is flowing. Oh, you turned on me? I'm going to open the floodgates of anger on you. And it's like everyone who sees that, who's a rational human being, is like, whoa, like you need to calm down.
We need to figure out how to
have a conversation.
I mean, I think there are ways to try and diffuse people. One of the challenges, going back to the conversation about the insidious nature of the far left, is that they actively try to stop any attempt by a person to break someone from the cult.
Yep.
You're in the cult. They act as like defense mechanisms, screeching with rage to shut down any conversation. And they literally do this. Like an example would be if you walked up to one of these people and you actually started having a conversation, they would run up to you and get in the way and start telling you to shut up and then start chanting.
Yep.
You can see it, right? There was a video with Jack Posobiec, conservative, talking to a black man in D.C.
Okay.
And they immediately rush up and try and stop him from doing it. And I think it was Jack. Was it Jack?
That was Jack.
Yeah, he's
that
like,
picture?
He's like, I'm trying to have a conversation with my friends here, and they're just like screaming at him, shut up, because they don't want people to actually hear.
Yeah.
They don't want people to come together. They want to maintain that anger and rage within you.
Well, I certainly see that right now. It's like it feels like the left / Democrats, that they're trying to slam home this division between everyone, and it's like I won't have it. Like I got these people that are, and you know it's great. I'm seeing people stand up. They're starting to look out for each other. You know, it's like, no, you're not going to talk to this person like that. Like, you're the one who's wrong. You know, it's like even on my Facebook, this infamous Facebook tweet, or you know, whatever it is, this post. Yeah, you know, and it's like there's people that I've known my whole life that are now writing on this, calling this guy out, you know, for being wrong, and explaining calmly. And I'm like, these are the rational people. He was an emotional person. He was not thinking coherently. He was screeching at me. He was turned it up to 11.
There are people on the right who have turned up to 11.
Okay.
Like, you know, I go on.
What's the ratio of people on the left?
On the left
versus
is way
the right?
more than the right.
Absolutely,
for sure.
100%.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be saying the things I do for the
Right.
most part. But it really does bum me out. Like I parlayed about this. Is that the right terminology on parlor? I parlayed. The Krasensteins are there. And they're
I don't know
like
anything about them. Who are these guys? I keep hearing their name. I don't know them
super
at all.
anti-Trump.
Okay.
Really annoying. They were ubiquitous.
Oh, they're anti-Trump.
Super anti-Trump.
Oh, well, why did they get booted off Twitter?
Because they were accused of running multiple accounts.
Oh, okay.
And they were everywhere, replying to everybody.
Oh, wow.
And
all
so
right.
they joined Parler, and I'm like, excellent.
Yeah.
Bring on more anti-Trump people, because if what we end up with is a Twitter and a Parler that have their various biases in terms of banning speech, you'll have two different spaces where different conversations happen.
True.
Better than just Twitter, right?
Agreed.
But I look at the comments on this guy's post, and there's a bunch of conservative people cussing him out and telling him to F off and just really nasty things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? You know, but I will say, you look at this is a common trope among the far left. It's called a right-wing love bomb. They understand, and they hate it, and they refuse to understand why it works. They'll say, like, a regular person will get all of this love from the right, saying you're so great, you're so smart. You know, that's really great. Thanks for having a conversation. And it convinces them to become right-wing. And I'm like, yeah, well, duh.
Right.
What do you think? If I walk into here's how I explain it. I'm in the middle of the street. I look to my right, there's a bar with a bunch of MAGA people with Trump hats waving flags, and they're hooting and hollering. I look to my left, it's a bunch of Antifa people wearing, masks with crowbars. And then I walk over to the left-wing side, and they go, "Who the F are you, bigot? What are you talking about? No, I'm in charge." Everyone's screaming. I'm going to be like, geez. Then I walk across the street, and they're like, "Yo, buddy, come have a beer over with us."
Yeah.
And then I'll go, "Well, I mean, I'm not really a Trump fan. Hey, no problem, man. Come on in. I'll get you a beer. We'll have a conversation."
And that's hypothetical, right?
I mean, technically, it's actually.
Well,
look.
let me tell you, I am right there right now. I'm standing on that street. I'm seeing these people on the left that I've known for a long time, screeching at me, screaming at me. You know, that Mark's post that I did on Twitter the other day, or like last week. It's insane the amount of people that are freaking out about it on both sides, screeching at each other. But man, all the rational people that are coming up to me going, "Yo, props for opening your eyes." It's like, just that alone right there, you're it doesn't matter what I believe in. It's like a simple, "Hey, good for you." That's really what I'm hearing. Good for you. Like, good on you for furthering yourself, opening your eyes. It's not like, "I'm glad you're even here," which I have gotten, but like the majority is just like, "Good job. Like, I'm proud of you. Like, good for you, man."
Go into a like pro-Trump group or forum or post on Facebook or something where you say something like, "I'm not a big fan of Trump, and I think we need to get him out of office," right?
Okay.
And the response you typically get, not completely, but typically from conservatives, is you'll get a response where it's like, "What's your problem with Trump? What has he done? Why do you hate him so much?"
Yeah, the questioning.
And then when you say something like he's racist, they'll be like, "What has he ever done that's racist? Give me an example."
I love that.
But hold on,
because I know a lot of stuff about him now.
Now go to an anti-Trump forum and post, "I like Trump. I think I'm going to vote for him."
Oh, yeah.
And you know what's going to happen. They're going to they'll ban you in 2 seconds.
That's true.
So listen, I'll make sure it's clear. It's like a 2-to-1 ratio. It exists on the right.
Yeah.
If you go to say the Donald.win and you post something negative about Trump, they're going to delete it. They're going to ban it.
I did go to that site, and I joined it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to see what this is all about.
So it is an echo chamber of Trump love.
Yeah.
But again, the reason I mention is because there's also r/politics on Reddit. It's supposed to be a neutral political forum. It is just basically anti-Trump. So
it's the Donald.lose.
If you go, yeah, seriously, if you go to r/politics, and post a pro Donald Trump story, erased.
Wow.
If you go to r/news,
sounds like Facebook.
Gone.
Yeah.
You go to if you go to so this is why it really is a bummer. There's no neutral platform for these kind of debates.
Yeah.
You can't post anti-Trump stuff on the Donald.win. For obvious reasons, it's dedicated to Trump supporters.
It's the Donald.win.
Right. r/politics should be neutral. You should be able to talk good and bad about Trump.
True, yeah.
And then r/Biden should be pro-Biden and anti-Trump.
Right.
Instead, the supposed neutral platform will ban you for saying good things about Trump. This is the perfect example of what's going on in modern politics.
Yeah.
Typically, I just tell you straight up, I have been in tons of far left events and hangouts, and they do not tolerate dissent, and I've been threatened. I go to an event with a bunch of Trump supporters, and I calmly laid out my discussion about institutional racism, and they all were like, "I never thought about it that way. I disagree." And then we had, I like shrimp dip or something, eating chips, and we sat there, and they were all like, "Yay, Trump!" And I was like, "Well, here's how I see these issues of social justice," and they were like, "I don't agree with that though," and that was it.
Yeah.
"I disagree," and I was like, "Okay."
Oh, classic.
Who's getting the beer?
Classic conversations.
Well, it's because when you look
civil conversations.
This goes back to what I was talking about with the far left, the insidious nature of their tactics. This is why I'm not entirely confident on Trump winning. They cheat. They don't just cheat in terms of like, "We're gonna rig the election." They cheat in terms of discourse.
Yep. Deleting anyone that's
right.
Trump speaks out. My video of me just simply going, I don't like the Democrats anymore. I'm gonna vote for Trump.
Banned.
Boom.
Gone.
Got banned.
2.4 million views, and they went, better delete that.
Yep. That's spreading way too fast.
Donald Trump comes out and he goes, "My fellow Americans, we will build a tremendous garden of heroes. Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, heroes of the Civil War. Everybody agrees it'll be tremendous." And then what happens? Donald Trump says he's going to build statues of Confederates. He thinks the Confederates are heroes. It's
crazy.
They're lying. They're making it up.
Blatant lying. I know. It's insane.
They will cheat.
They are cheating. I 100% agree. I think they're cheating now. You're right.
So
it's scary.
Look, man, you look at Russiagate, and it was, what did we learn about Russiagate? For those that don't know,
it was nothing.
There were several high-profile people who were going on CNN and MSNBC saying, I have seen the evidence. It exists. Trump did this.
Right.
And then what were they saying when they testified privately? I have not seen any evidence. I have no idea.
Right.
And then it wasn't until this year the evidence actually came out. They made it all up. They were cheating the
not
whole
only
time.
they. I'm sorry. It's not just they. Biden did this.
Right.
With Obama. Like they both sat together and they plotted this out.
We don't know to what extent, but we know they were involved. And that's the important
We know they were
conversation.
involved. That's all I need to know.
That Joe Biden
That's
lied.
proof. There's
That
proof.
Joe Biden's been
100%,
caught on several lies now.
Exactly.
Why were they going after Michael Flynn? And now Michael Flynn has basically been exonerated. Well, I don't want to say exonerated because the political disparity in perspective, but the charges are gone.
See, these are the kind of things that make me think that there's no way Trump's part of the deep state. Because the deep state was trying to stop him from becoming president.
The conspiracy is that it's all show to make you think.
Of course.
Sure. But I don't believe the conspiracy either.
I don't know.
They destroyed Michael Flynn's life.
They did.
And they even admitted, this was in part of the notes, that in the conversation with, you might want to fact check me on this one. I'm pretty sure, though. In the conversation they had with Obama and Biden, someone said, the FBI notes showed, Michael Flynn's conversation with Kislyak was on the level.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, go after him anyway.
Yep.
And so, Obama's there. Biden is there.
Yep.
Biden did an unmasking request. It's a really, really complicated story. And this is what's really hard for the American people is to understand
the complex,
what happened with this.
Yeah, the web of
Long story short,
what it all is.
Michael Flynn was a national security advisor. He had a conversation with a Russian ambassador, I believe, asking him not to escalate sanction wars. Saying, please let us come in and do our thing before there's escalation. That was it.
Yeah.
The conversation was on the level. Most people agree. In an informal meeting at the White House with no legal counsel present, Michael Flynn said he didn't talk to Kislyak, and they went, gotcha. He just lied to an FBI agent. And then they claimed that was grounds. They went to him and said, if you do not plead guilty, we will investigate your son. And so Michael Flynn said, I'll do whatever you want.
It's a threat.
Yep.
Yeah, it was Joe Biden. They think that Joe Biden actually personally raised the idea of investigating Michael Flynn.
He mentioned the Logan Act. It was Biden who mentioned the Logan Act, right?
Yeah.
Long story short, Michael Flynn did nothing wrong. Literally nothing wrong. It was in his official duties, his job. He was an incoming and national security advisor having a conversation with another country. And they found an obscure way to force him, and threatening his family, to plead guilty so that they could keep pushing this fake theory of Russian collusion. They cheated.
They lied.
The whole thing was a scam.
Yep.
And I'm surprised Trump was able to win on that one. Because they were doing it for years investigating him. Now, to be fair, Trump made a whole bunch of banana peel moments, slipping around and falling, trying to firing Comey.
Doesn't have the best tact,
but he still ended up winning on that one. Mm-hmm. And now they're going for the same strategy. Trump's going to cheat again. It's like, no, I think you're going to cheat.
Yes.
You never accepted the results of 2016. You hate Trump. You've been accusing him of scandal after scandal.
Trying to impeach him since he got in office.
I think if Trump gets reelected,
he's going to drop the hammer on them all.
We're going to see a perp walk.
Oh,
we're going to see tons of people. It's going to be historic.
That'd be amazing. Lydia's face shows that she agrees.
That's why they won't let him win.
They can't
won't
let him win.
by any means necessary.
That's right. And that's what I'm saying. They're firing on all cylinders. They are firing everything they've got. They are whipping the emotions of the American public around their fingers.
Might work.
And I see it. And it saddens me a lot. I'm speaking up. I'm being more vocal than I've ever been in my life.
The fact they're going
after
Bill Barr is the really interesting thing to me.
Yeah.
Bill Barr was one of the smartest moves Trump has ever made.
Oh yeah.
Because he was the attorney general in the 90s. He was attorney general, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
In the 90s under I think H.W. Bush was it?
I think it was. I'll
You
double check
pull it
that.
up? Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, you pull a guy out of retirement who's got a clean track record serving the country, bring him back into the same thing, and now they're trying to smear him again, but it's not so easy.
Right.
Because it's like, do you mean to tell me he was corrupt in the 90s? It's like, well, he's working for Trump now, and he's defending Trump. It's like, yeah, maybe. Or maybe...
You just want Trump to lose.
No, maybe there is a group of corrupt crony politicians who have been hiring their buddies and infecting our government with their BS to enrich themselves.
And are losing a lot of money to the cancel of the TPP with China because they have a lot of money invested there.
Right, but imagine this. Could you imagine how crazy it would be if, like, say, I don't know, somebody working in government had a foundation, maybe a Secretary of State, had a foundation where they were taking donations from foreign governments while they were running the administration. Like, that could never happen, right?
Right.
Yeah. I know that reference.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Right.
Amazing.
So I'm not here to pretend Trump is perfect on anything. I don't like most of the people who run for office, but Bill Barr seems like he's on the level.
Yeah, since '89 with HW.
Yep. Simply does.
Yeah.
And they didn't have any problems with him back then.
Nope.
Take a look at Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh was vetted when he became a federal judge. All of a sudden, they surfaced 30-year-old allegations against him and run him over the coals, calling him evil.
Yeah.
Like this is a whole new level of insidious, strange, and weird.
It's that anger. It's that elephant riding around. They are trying to control everybody with it. It's sad.
What was the name of that guy who he was the banker plot? You know the banker plot?
Let me look it up.
Yeah, but look at the banker plot. This, my understanding, was a conspiracy in like the early 1900s. Was it Smedley Butler? Was that his name?
I've
Banker plot?
yeah, I'm not sure.
Smash the like button.
It's a film.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Something happened. Okay, maybe I'm thinking of a movie, but I'm pretty sure something happened where a bunch of super wealthy individuals were trying to convince like a high-ranking military official to overthrow the government and give them control of everything. Were we not able to find it?
Well, it's very race-oriented.
Race-oriented?
Yeah, is that what it's about?
No, the thing I'm thinking of is
lost.
like bankers who are like, we want financial control of the government, and they wanted this guy to overthrow it or something.
Okay.
Maybe people are gonna comment in the chat
Smash the like
with
button.
what it is.
Oh, that's the.
You couldn't find it? Maybe I don't know. Smedley Butler. Some people are
Smedley
saying.
Butler.
Oh, you missed
Did you
my
look it up?
headbutt? Oh, I'll do it later.
Hold on, I'm distracted. Smedley Butler.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm having fun with this smash button.
He was a Marine.
Pillow.
People are saying.
Yeah,
love
he was
this.
a Marine.
Yeah,
Most
was-
decorated Marine in U.S. history. During his 34-year career as a Marine, he participated in military actions in the Philippines, China, and Central America and Caribbean.
Did they mention anything about conspiracies or something?
Do.
I wonder where I read that.
I'm not sure. Sounds interesting.
The business
He claimed
plot.
the
Someone
existence
says.
of a political conspiracy by
business plot.
business leaders
Yeah,
to
there you go.
overthrow President Roosevelt. Okay,
Boom.
we figured it out. It wasn't the banker plot, it was a business plot.
I read too much,
All runs together.
and I'm like, sometimes I'm like, was that in a movie? Did I
It's a
make this up?
dream.
My brain has fractured.
I'm going to use that
No,
against you in
I'm-
the future.
No, I'm kidding. By the way, I was correct. That's the point.
Yeah.
I actually knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
The
It doesn't matter.
business
You
plot.
said it.
Yeah,
What,
the
am I going
business
crazy?
plot. Maybe a little
The
bit.
business plot.
You're just going
So
crazy.
the reason I bring that up is, look, conspiracies happen.
Mm-hmm.
So for all that we know, the Obamagate stuff. Like, think about. I know a lot of people firmly believe it is true, but I firmly believe we need hard evidence before I make any assertions.
True.
But entertain the possibility that Donald Trump, for all of his character defects, and boy howdy are there a lot, is just a guy who wanted to be president to help this country.
I think that 100%.
And wanted to apply his knowledge to economics and foreign trade. And there is a group of people who have infected our federal government at the highest levels, who've hired their buddies, and are using their power to subvert the American people.
Yep. The more I look into Trump, the more I see that to be 100% true,
Well,
man.
certainly-
he wants people to survive. He wants people to do well. He appreciates people who work hard.
Did I tell you the story about the dude I met who Trump gave him a free iPod?
No.
So this dude I knew in Chicago said that when they built Trump Tower,
Okay.
he was going there for some reason, like a delivery or something. And as he was walking in, he knew that he could hear people behind him.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't really pay attention, but he walked up to the door and opened it and then stepped aside to let them in. And then when he did, it was Trump and Trump's people.
Yeah.
And then they all walked past him. And then he was like, whoa, hey, it's Trump. And then Trump's about 10 feet in front of him. He walks in, drops the door, and then Trump stops, turns around and goes, hey, kid, thanks, and throws an iPod.
Nice.
This was back when iPods were like a big
That's
deal.
so cool.
That's dope.
Yeah, it was like the new iPod.
Like
It
with
was,
Trump's music on it too.
Yeah.
Dope.
Awesome.
And he
That's
was
cool.
like, whoa. And their
I got the
stories.
Trump pod.
Dude.
It's actually gold.
I went
Right.
when Trump first got elected. I went to Trump Tower,
Uh-huh.
and he's got that restaurant and the ice cream shop. And I asked everybody what they thought about him. They love him.
Yeah.
They all loved him.
Yeah.
Some people would say like he would come down and just give him $100 bills. Just
That's
like come
dope.
down and give him money.
That's not surprising.
I think I asked somebody at the ice cream shop or the restaurant or whatever, and I was like, "What do you think?" And they're like, "He comes down sometimes. He's really nice to everybody." And I'm
cool.
like, "Do you believe what they say about him?" And they were like, "No." But some people think Trump's playing it up for the media. Like he's exaggerated his character and his
Okay.
politics to like generate controversy and buzz. But the people who worked at the tower They were like, he's great.
I have heard. Do you know what I've heard?
What have you heard?
I've heard he paid off a bunch of people's like medical bills and student loans and stuff, and he does it really quietly. It's like super under the table, but
This
he
is
does
hilarious.
it, and he never asks for anything for it.
Yep.
I firmly believe that based on all of the negative press, that if you were to remove all of the negative press, actually just go back in time in 2015, Trump was like considered to be one of the best people in the country.
Yep.
Like he was a good dude. He's a civil rights leader. He's all these really great things.
Yeah, he stood next to Rosa Parks and won an award with her. It's like,
But as soon as he ran as a Republican, they do what they do best.
Yep.
They call everybody who runs as a Republican racist.
That's true.
White nationalist, all that evil stuff.
To call him a racist means you know nothing about him. That's it. From what I've learned about him, it's amazing. The amount of stuff that he's done for the minorities in this country blows me away. It's the more I research into him, the more I really like him a lot. That's just a simple truth.
I actually heard one of the best explanations from this guy. I forgot his name. It was in New York when they were doing that Shia LaBeouf thing with that flag. I can't remember what that flag was called.
Oh, he will not divide us.
Yeah, he will not divide us. And there was a guy there, anti-Trump, and I was talking to him, and I asked him what he thought about Trump. And he was like, he's got problems. I don't think he's the worst guy in the world, but I think, we definitely need somebody else, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he was a black dude, by the way. So I asked him, I was like, do you think Trump is racist? And he goes, oh, yeah, but he's the least racist president we've ever had. And I was like, wait, hold on. Wait, you think he's racist, but he's the least racist? You think Obama was more racist? And he was like, yeah.
Wow.
And he basically told me that he was like, listen, man, you got to understand, we had presidents who were slave owners. Pretty sure that means they were racist, right? And I'm like, that's a good point. And he goes, Trump, he has his prejudices, man. Of course, I think he's racist, but compared to all the rest of them, he's the least racist we've ever had. And I'm like, that's a really interesting way of putting it. And I think from a certain perspective, it's fair to say everybody has certain prejudices.
Well, you are attracted to people that look closer to your own. Like that's it's been proven.
Physical attractiveness. People.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah,
and we forget that we're animals. We are animals, all right?
Babies
and
do that,
we're
yeah.
mammals.
Yeah.
And it's like even today, for example, I was talking to a friend of mine, a close friend of mine, and I was like, it happens to be an African American, and he was telling me, I was like, tell me, like, talk to me about like what you went through, and grew up without being around white people in general, and changed schools, and finally saw his first white person, and was afraid of them. Just a 6-year-old, first interaction, felt fear because it was something different.
Yeah,
it's innate in us. It's something that you don't know, you don't understand. And
that
it's learned though that it's a bad person. That that in itself it's different. We have to.
That's why I think proximity is the cure for a lot of these biases and bigotry.
Right.
That's why the segregationists terrify me.
Exactly, I agree. Like Don Lemon was talking to Terry Crews, right? And they were talking about how he was trying to drive home that it isn't like, or Terry Crews was saying, it's not white on black. It's not black on white. It's like everyone is in their own clusters, and that's where the crime happens to each other. And it's like, sure, but when we diversify, when we come together, and find out we're all pretty much the same. We all want to be loved. We all want to eat and be comfortable and live life happily.
Man, the fact that I said this the other day, and I'll say it a million times. The fact that there's a white progressive calling a black conservative a white supremacist proves race has nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
It is ideology.
Exactly.
Straight away.
I mean, and when you see black people killing each other, all like nonstop. Like we look at New York, what's happening? Chicago, Atlanta, like all these places, it's happening. And yeah, there's people there. There's a very small group that are actually still speaking up for them, but it is just being lost.
Well, it's because the political
completely.
It's the mainstream politics doesn't care about it. They can't weaponize it.
Yep, exactly.
So you have this. The cause of this crime has a lot to do with poverty and culture. Like so gang culture, for instance.
Yeah.
Gang culture isn't the biggest issue. The biggest factor, is my understanding, having covered some of the stuff in Chicago. It's actually just general. I don't know. It's not gang culture. It's some kind of just they don't have a respect for life. It's cultural. It's nothing to do with race.
Well, it's
as exemplified by the people in my
society.
neighborhood.
They're trying to bring society down, but society has given you this comfortable life.
Well, these far left activists are.
Okay,
right. In Chicago,
yes.
there's very little thought to if you mess with my friends in my neighborhood, we dial to 11.
Yeah.
You know, so in my neighborhood, it was like this culture was bred across all different races. You have the south side of Chicago where there's a lot of poverty, and there is a culture of violence and anger and dialing the knob all the way up.
Yeah,
like I told you like last week or 2 weeks ago that there was a fight outside of the high school in my neighborhood, and it was a glorious, diverse group of people hating each other. It's great, right? And one guy drew a gun. They were boxing. One guy lost. He reached under a car where he hid a weapon. He pulled out a gun. Or no, he pulled out a 2x4. And then the other guy was like, "Oh, you want to bring a weapon, huh?" And then he walked over to his friend and grabbed a gun. And then everyone started screaming and running.
Yep.
And it was like that mentality of like violence and taking things up to the extreme level of we were hitting each other and now I'm just going to shoot you. That's just part of like some weird culture that exists.
To quote one of my favorite movies, evil begets evil.
So
I think it's in the Bible
what
also.
do you get with like Karen culture?
Fifth Element.
With like high level upper middle class Karens? I will sue you. No, I will sue you. No, I will sue you. And that's the extent to which they take things.
Yeah.
It's like litigation. But it's a cultural phenomenon. And it's completely not racial, as evidenced by the fact that you have wealthy conservative black people arguing with, you know, like middle class white progressives about who's the real white supremacist.
Right, exactly.
It like completely disproves the narrative of the left that there are like, if they ever stopped and actually just like stepped back and watched a video of what they were doing, maybe then they would realize race wasn't a factor in it.
Wouldn't that be wonderful if they actually stopped for a second and just took a look at what they're doing and maybe read a history book, you know?
Yeah, good luck on that one, huh?
Yeah, right.
Well, how about we read
spin the UFO?
I was gonna say read a super chats.
Oh, I'm gonna spin the UFO.
And how about you guys?
Do it, Tim. Do it.
Just
do
you see
it,
this?
Tim. Smash it, Tim.
I need you guys
smash
to do this.
Oh man, I could just
boop,
boop it.
Boop it. Just boop it.
Bop it.
I'm so disappointed.
Bop
right
that
now.
like button.
That's right.
All right, we got a super chat here while Adam's spinning the UFO. LR Design Studios. Lori Sullivan Roy says, "Admit it, Tim, you're voting Trump, MAGA baby. Keep up the great work, guys."
Right.
Kanye 2020.
That's right.
Dude. Kanye, man.
Yeah.
We'll see what his platform's all about.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he's not running in 2020, right?
I don't think
We don't know yet. We don't know yet.
Trump,
that's not for sure.
Trump responded. He was like, "It'll be a good trial run for 2024."
I think he's truly going to run in 2024.
So I'll say exactly what I've said before. You know, I don't know. If the election was held today, I'd probably vote for Trump.
Okay.
But I'm not committed 100%. There's a lot that has to happen. And so it's really funny. Someone there was a big thread on my Instagram where they're like, "Tim's lying. He would never actually vote for Trump." And I'm like, "What? I don't get it. Like, why would I say that?"
They don't care. They don't know.
Well,
they don't listen to everything you say. They don't watch every video that you.
I'm only pretending to want to vote for Trump to get the clicks from Trump supporters.
Sure, I'm sure.
And I'm like, what? I've not done a
no,
thing.
No, that's okay. I got that.
You got that?
I got that.
What do you mean? Like,
I'm just kidding. Yeah, I already said it. I'm proudly voting for him
so
now.
Why would I have to?
Yeah.
I'm proudly.
I am. I like the guy.
I
think he's doing good things.
My thing is like, I fear more about Joe Biden transforming the country. The way
Definitely.
Here's how I explained it to people.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know, in this conversation about the far left, I said, "Do you have any idea what minority people and like regular Americans who are not politically initiated, who are minority or mixed, think when they wake up and see large sections of the white population organizing white identity-based groups and calling for white collective action? Like, do you think they sit there and think, let's discuss the nuances of their political opinions on why they should form a white racial group? Or do you think they're like, what's going on? I thought we have civil rights law to like prevent discrimination from, you know, majorities oppressing minorities."
Nope, it's the opposite, and they're actually repealing all those civil rights laws.
Exactly. So let me just break it down for y'all. In California, where like the majority, which is white, has started calling for white collective action and has advocated now through the Democratic Party to repeal their civil rights legislation.
Hold on, wait.
Which they have done.
I got a physical representation of how I feel about that.
It's creepy.
Yep.
It's creepy.
No smash.
No
They really did it. We'll see if it gets. We'll see if it actually gets passed. But
Yeah.
it's funny when I see people post on Twitter and they have a picture of it and they're like, "This can't be real, can it?" And I'm like, "Yes,
It's real.
they have repealed civil rights. They have voted to do it.
So it's happening.
It'll be on the
They vote this
November,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The California Democrats might actually strike out the language in their constitution that says the state cannot discriminate based on race.
That's amazing.
Truly amazing how far they've come.
Progressive.
All right, let's see what we got here in the old super chats. Theodore Abate says, "What's your stance on multiculturalism? Personally, I don't think it works, and the evidence seems pretty self-evident at this point. Thanks for keeping it real." Depends your definition.
Well, they're trying to shove it down our throats that it doesn't work.
It does work. It
does.
Absolutely does work.
Yeah.
I lived in Chicago, as I've said probably 17 trillion times at this point. Chicago has Chinatown.
Yep.
I would go to Chinatown, and I would very much enjoy it, and we would love to go down there, and we all got along just fine.
Yep.
The issue is there one umbrella culture for which all the other subcultures exist? If American culture, so this is where the definitions come into play. A lot of people, when they say multiculturalism, they refer to American culture and then, like, say, Chinese culture side by side.
Okay.
Clearly doesn't work, because you can't have different sets of rules and laws based on your culture. Now, if people move from, say, China, and they create a Chinatown where they do a lot of things that are culturally Chinese, but it's all under the one parent umbrella of American, constitutional republicanism or liberal democracy, whatever definition you want to use, we're fine. Then you can go down and say, I may not understand why it is you prefer to eat these foods, but I can come and we can enjoy because we all abide by the same rules and the same laws. The problem arises when you have no parent overarching culture, and then you get side-by-side parallel cultures with different sets of rules and laws. You end up with morality police, and we're starting to see that.
Yep.
That doesn't work.
That's true.
That doesn't work. I wonder if, like, these people believe that intersectionalism will be the global unifying force or something, but that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to live in a Star Trek future.
Who doesn't?
But in a Star Trek future,
I'll take one coffee, please.
Do you know
Boop, boop, boop.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You know what the famous quote is from the? It was what was Star Trek? The 60s. When
Started, yeah, maybe.
Abraham Lincoln was, like, on the ship for some reason. I can't remember exactly why. And he uses a racial term, relatively derogatory racial term for the time, for Captain. I'm sorry, not Captain.
Uhura.
Uhura. She was the fourth in command, I think. And then he corrects himself and says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. Was that offensive?" And she goes, "Why would I be offended?" And then Kirk is like, I think it's Kirk. He says something like, "By this time in human civilization, we don't let words." Oh no, Uhura says this. We don't let words offend us.
Nice.
And everybody was like, when people started resurfacing this clip, and they were like, if only they understood how wrong they were, because, like, it's gotten so worse. But that's Star Trek future.
In Star Trek lore, though, it got a lot worse before they created
in San Francisco.
That's true.
So maybe we're on track.
No.
Maybe it'll be great. All right, let's see. What else do we got here over in the old Super Chats? Exile Devil says, the worst WMD that humanity created is the internet and social media. It has destroyed countless lives. It's unregulated and in the hands of billions. Like many WMDs, it was supposed to help us, not destroy us. We are not ready for the responsibility. It is no joke when people say we have condensed 10 years of history in 6 months.
That's true. There's something I've been thinking about this a lot, actually, because we've been discussing that we weren't ready for social media. And I think there's if you look at, like, the technological advance of the past 100 years, right, and how fast it's advancing the further we go. So it's almost exponential. It seems like it might be slowing down now, but it's because it's not so much of a physical realm. Now it's because the internet came along, and we're seeing, this new phase in humanity, essentially. And I feel like we're seeing the effects of it now. This is truly the effects of the internet. So people are seeing it. So it's almost like we are all going through this awakening right now. This moment that we're in, we're seeing the effects of it. It's polarizing and focusing everybody to really analyze practically every aspect of humanity.
I think.
I mean, at least personally,
the internet created a hard fork in American culture. Mm-hmm. So, when you had a flat internet, you had all these different communities, and they started bubbling up and growing, and then at some point they fork off from each other in disagreement about what should or shouldn't be, and that leads us to the culture war. And now you've got two. It's like, it's a hard fork in the cultural programming of our country.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it can be remedied because It's a fork. They're just completely different lines of code at this point.
Yeah. So the Civil War that we keep talking about, that
we got to get rid of one of the forks, man.
We have
to delete.
We need O'Hara's voice right now.
Who?
O'Hara, from Star Trek, talking about how we don't let words affect us. I'm not offended by that because I don't get offended by words.
These two forks can't coexist.
Absolutely, you're right.
So, and I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about cultural ideology. One of them has to be stamped out. They're tearing down statues. They're lying about it.
Yep.
Trump is arguing. In my opinion, the way I see it is, the left is the deviation. You have American history. You can follow everything back in time, all the way back to John Locke, liberalism, the ideas that led to the revolution, back through colonialism, back through every migration of all these different patterns, and then today or 10 years ago, a fork split off that disagrees with all of that history and doesn't recognize it.
Yep.
So that's the deviation.
Okay.
Those of us that say we recognize the faults of this country and respect it for what it is and how it became great and continues to strive are respecting the parent. It's like, trusting in America and believing in this country and respecting our history is the real code. Then you have the far left, which is a deviant forking off the code to create something else that would literally destroy everything from before the year 2000 or something like that. Year zero, as it were.
Yeah, it's insane.
But I think what's causing this rapid development of history in such a short time is the speed at which we communicate.
Yep.
So, man, it's crazy. The revolution took place over 18 years. I think it was 18 years. It wasn't just the war. It was the process by which the conversation started, the Continental Congress, the drafting of the Declaration of Independence. And it was like they drafted the declaration and then they're done. And then what, like years go by before any real conflict starts? The declaration had to make it to England and then make it back. That probably took a year.
Right. So my thought on that is you think it took a long time for it to happen. And then it took a long time to integrate into the system, right? So now we're at this stage where it's like that instead. So it's going to happen like that, and it's going to end like that. Do you know what I mean?
Will it end like that?
I think so. I think so, yeah.
I don't, maybe, but the reason it starts with a bang is because instead of, like taking the Declaration of Independence, giving it to somebody, being like, get this on the first ship to England, and then in 3 months, the king will review it, and then 3 months after that, we'll have a bunch of regulars, well, probably more than 3 months after that, 7 months, because they got to get the troops, then put them on the boats, and then send them out here.
Yeah.
So you're looking at almost a year after you sign it and send it out, whereas today you'd be like, oh, let me send it, let me tweet, yo, we are independent, do something.
Right.
And then within that moment, he goes, send out our soldiers. The war still happens.
Yeah, but
it takes time.
It's still going to end as fast as it begins.
I don't think it'll end as fast. I think it goes straight up and then goes down really fast because there's still the hot conflict.
So it's double. Couple poetry snaps.
Like the thing about the revolution, the Civil War, and these other bits of history that took a long time was that people had to move around and communication took forever. Mm-hmm. With the start of the war, it's instant. Oh, you're doing this. Actually, it's not. I'm willing to bet that whatever this period is, what the historians would argue it started with, just before Occupy Wall Street. They would say, in August 2011, a bunch of, socialist activists got together and planned the Occupy Wall Street movement. This was the beginning emergence of mainstream intersectionalism, where they actually had governing bodies based on your privilege and stuff like that. And then it became more and more prevalent, from colleges to media companies, to the mainstream enterprise. And then by 2020, it was widespread violence. So if we look back in history, they'll say it took 20 years. They will.
That's a good point.
Yeah, maybe we're just kind of exaggerating it. All right, we got this super chat from Big Mac Attack. He says, good evening, Baron Von Beanie, Sorbarian Jesus, and Lady Lydia of Whiterun. Did you guys know a metal band actually did an album inspired by the anime Berserk? The album was called Beast in Black. I highly recommend it. Cheers. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
All right, let's see. We are about to
I got a large one here from Chronoflation. It says, man, listening to you two debate makes me excited to see Adam with Stefan Molyneux. If you guys can get him on, I'd love to see it. I'm trying to imagine what will happen when the champion of anti-racism meets the statistical race realistic philosopher. Okay.
That'd be an interesting debate.
We are working
on... is that me? Am I the champion?
No.
Oh, is that him? I don't know anything about him, so
yeah, he's the stats and philosophy. He's the guy who just got banned from YouTube because you're not allowed to talk about it.
Right. No, so they're calling me the champion of anti-racism.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
that's right.
All right,
That's you.
I didn't know.
We are working on a big expansion.
Oh,
it is not particularly easy, but we are planning by probably September to have everything in order. And then we are going to be able to bring on bigger guests. We're going to have a redesigned set. We're going to have bigger space. We're going to have an indoor shooting range, skate park, and a bunch of other crazy stuff.
Indoor skate park, indoor shooting range.
And a vlog, and probably more channels and gaming and just weird shenanigans.
Yeah.
Man, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be
Oh,
awesome.
I'm excited.
I'm stoked.
So if you haven't already, make sure you smash the like button. Adam's got a physical representation.
Yes.
Hold on, let me prepare.
You missed his cue.
Smash
it up.
That's
Subscribe.
it, just one.
And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Timcast. You can follow at Adam Krigler on Instagram and Twitter as well.
And Parlor.
And Parlor. Don't
Oh,
forget
yeah.
Parlor. And you can also follow at Sour Patch Lids on Twitter. Is that Parlor too?
Yeah.
And Parlor.
Yep.
Look at that. And that's LYDS.
Yes.
All right, let's see what we got here with the super chats. Angry Bellsprout says Tim endorses Lincoln's plans to. I'm not gonna wait. What? I'm not reading that.
Oh.
Vincent Grasso says Grunt here. As a new gun owner, I just want to toss a suggestion to look up and do dry fire drills in your home. It helps build the muscle memory in the absence of range time and the ammo shortages. And they actually sell those caps.
Oh yeah.
That so you can dry fire without actually firing the weapon.
Yeah. We saw them in the
gun
shop.
shop's got them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you want to do training and no matter what, anybody listening, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on guns, but a gun is always loaded. Period.
Rule number 1.
The Killer Stove says, I voted for Gary Johnson as a protest vote in 2016 to show I was willing to engage in the system, but was disenfranchised.
Yep.
In the far left's eyes, that was high treason. The far left's hate for moderates is insane. Trump 2020.
It is insane.
I hear you, man.
It's crazy, man. They get the crazy
that's
eyes.
that's what we're
right
talking
straight
about,
to
like,
11.
Exactly.
Yep.
They're just like they're just screeching banshees.
I know.
There's no calming them down. Like, you want to just come here, give me a hug. No, they just like they like knife you in the back.
Yeah, I don't deal with that well.
Jeff Schlumbrecht says, I'm an Oath Keeper 3%er. 3%er refers to it only took 3% of the population to rise up and defeat the British in the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
I am also ADV China's media person. If you would still like to do an interview with Matt. Who's Matt?
I don't know. I don't know what that is. ADV
I
China.
will look it up.
But they can reach out. They can tweet at you, or is that getting overwhelming? Yeah.
Whatever. I do always have a tweet at the top of my page. Every Sunday night or Monday morning, I do this is a subject thread. Hit me up with ideas, and people still hit me up. So
at Adam Krigler.
Feel free.
Yep.
Stangley says, hey, Tim, I just want to ask you, what do you think the future holds with escalations in China and unprecedented political unrest in America and across the world? Also, just want to say, mad respect to you guys. Keep it up. They might ban TikTok.
I would love it if they banned TikTok.
Why?
Yeah.
Because it's annoying?
No, because
China's spying.
Yeah, they're spying on American citizens.
Manipulating young people.
Period. I mean, no, we can't stop like young people from using the internet, but if they're spying on us and they control what is being viral, like, I mean, it is a Chinese company. Who's to say they're not going, oh, this is a perfect one, make this one viral over something else on TikTok? I don't know if they can or not, or they can't, but I know that we've proved that they take your clipboard information and they know what's on there.
One of the reasons they claim to have targeted Michael Flynn was that he said he thought China was a bigger threat than Russia. Yep.
What a surprise.
And they were like, that proves he's trying to shield Russia. And it's like, no, it shows he's going after China. And that got you mad?
Yeah. China's
I
the
wonder
threat.
how much they mentioned Russian interference. I wonder how much of that is actually Chinese interference, manipulating our social media to make people go crazy.
That's a good point. Yeah.
How about, I know it's a joke, but we got several million people in Hong Kong. Need a good place to go.
And they love us, man.
I know they're waving American flags and
July 4th
holding up.
It was there was more people around the world that want to be here than the people that are arguing that how bad America is. And it's just like,
and there are people defending China.
Get out of here.
We're here.
I know. It's like, you want to go to China, go live in China.
I'll tell you what.
We'll happily replace you with these other people that want to be patriots and want to live in this amazing country.
If you are pro CCP, okay, and you love what China does, I would absolutely, personally, myself, pay for you to move there and pay for that resident of Hong Kong to come back and take your place.
Yes.
So like you guys can switch. And I mean that with the utmost respect. If you really do think China does a good job, and there are people in America who do, then I will help you go there and live happily. And if there's someone in Hong Kong who wants to be in America, I would pay to bring them here. I think that's an amicable solution to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
This spin is for all those people in Hong Kong
man.
that wish they were here.
Yeah, man.
I wish you were here too.
Check this out. Kayleem Mims says, when you talk about Trump making the Garden of Heroes on the 4th of July, it gave me hope. I didn't like him at first. Now I'm leaning towards him 2020. Me, a young black man. I got to tell you, man, when Trump announced the Garden of Heroes, my net Trump favorability went up a lot.
Me too.
That's great.
I mean, it was already it was doing well over here.
My position has typically been Trump is bad, but he's not that bad.
Yeah.
Now my position is like, Trump's all right. The Garden of Heroes thing's legit. I really, really, really like that.
Me too.
For two reasons. I love the idea of statues honoring heroes.
Yep.
And you know what one of my favorite statues ever is? The statue of Hachiko the dog.
Cool.
You know the story?
Yeah. Great story.
Hachiko was a loyal dog who would wait by the train every day for his best friend.
Yeah.
To use the proper terminology. One day, the Japanese professor who owned Hachiko died while at the university, and he never came back. And Hachiko waited there for nearly 10 years every day. No matter how many times they tried to remove him, he was like, no, I am waiting for my friend. And he died. They built a statue in his honor at the train station.
Yeah, it's a great story.
There's also a funnier story of a fat cat. This was viral on Reddit. That would lean on the stairs, like the guy from the Dos Equis commercial.
Yeah.
And then when the cat died, they built a statue in his honor so that you walk by,
That's
there's
nice.
a little fat cat leaning on the stairs.
I see a fat cat over there.
Yeah, we got a
She's over there.
little fat kitty.
She's
Oh,
right
there.
here. She's
But I really do
there
like
she
the
is.
idea of getting to see a representation of the giants for whom have lent their shoulders to you to stand on.
The problem with that is if people don't know their history, it's meaningless.
Well,
That's a big issue.
You put a plaque at the bottom of the statue to say, "Here's who this person was."
Well, they have to read the
Dude,
plaque.
There's a couple things about the Garden of Heroes. For one, he made a great list of great American heroes, and I hope they offer up a way to like vote for more individuals to be placed there.
I'm sure. Yeah. Why wouldn't it be that way?
I just imagine like 100 years from now, people are going to like walk in there and be like, wow, and they're going to look at all these statues of all these different people, and they're going to learn about why we hold them in such high esteem.
Yep.
But the other thing is, with this move to build the Garden of Heroes, Trump it was the biggest smackdown of the far left. I just want you to imagine like an MMA ring, and the far left is like, doing little like quick jabs at Trump, and then Trump jumps 50 feet in the air and then just like aims down a burst of flames and then just boom right in the face, and they explode. Boom on the like button.
Yes.
That smackdown on the far left was so explosive. I'm almost imagining like some Antifa guy getting punched by Trump in his face, just he explodes in a splatter of blood. Now I'm exaggerating, but what I mean is he didn't just say, I will stop you from tearing down statues. He said, I'm going to build 50 more.
Yep.
You want to tear a statue down?
I'm going to build more statues.
And I'm like, oh,
I heard you
wow.
like statues.
Yeah, I heard you like statues. Yep.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
First and foremost, I really like the idea of a national park memorializing heroes.
Me too.
Notably, Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
Totally.
I think, right? And he did say Frederick Douglass.
Yeah. all
Antonin
of those
Scalia,
things.
go for it. I think there's American heroes that there are people that we might disagree with, but if you want to put Ruth Bader Ginsburg in there as well, when her time, I'm not trying to be morbid, but she's getting on.
She's trucking though, man. It's crazy.
I have tremendous respect for her career, the things she's accomplished, and clearly she's strong.
Yeah.
You cannot deny that. That woman
Yes, she
is
is.
one of the strongest human beings I've ever heard
Energizer
of.
Bunny.
Yeah.
For real, man. I'm impressed.
It's
I gotta
because she never
admit it.
retired. That's the key to living long.
But she has gone through how many bouts of cancer and
Multiple, yeah.
and illnesses, and she will not let go. I am impressed. I'm absolutely impressed.
I actually got wind that she actually watches our show and smashes the like button.
Oh,
really?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Huh,
This
I
is
heard that.
true.
Anyway, I
This
heard
is a
that
true
too.
fact.
Oh yeah. No, it's not.
I think this was one of the most clever ways to rebut what the far left has been doing.
Yep.
Because it's a way to reaffirm our history.
That's
in
true.
the face of those who want to destroy it, you're not getting in a federal, a national park with all of these heroes. You may have torn down a dozen or so of these statues. Trump's going to build, 2-3 dozen more.
Bigger, better.
Yeah. And you can't get in there.
The best.
You're not gonna go in there, and so the states might not agree, but Trump is saying straight up, our history will not be destroyed. I will
Yep.
reinforce it. And I'm like, here, man. Here. I tremendous respect for that.
Same here.
Have Tome says, The Adam Curtis doc Hypernormalization. It wades through the culmination of forces that have driven this culture into mass uncertainty, confusion, spectacle, and simulation. It does, but it starts to trail off. And I got, like, at a certain point, I was like, I lost it. It fell asleep and just, Let's see, what do we got? Michael Stevens says, have you all ever read the rough draft of the Declaration of Independence where they originally tried to end slavery, but 2 colonies wouldn't agree to it? I read about it.
Yeah, I read about that.
They wanted to abolish it outright.
Yep.
But they would not have been able to defeat the British if they didn't have the support of the other colonies.
That's right.
Man, I'm not happy about that. It would have been, because I'm stubborn. I would have been like, then you guys can leave.
Yeah.
And then we'll do but they needed the military support.
I mean, they might not have won, and then we might have been a military. I mean, who knows where we'd be right now, but this is the thing. We are here. We are here right now. This is where we are. We're not back then. And that's where everyone, I can't stand this, canceling people from the far past, where it's like the whole Marx thing, like people are defending him. They're like, oh yeah, he was racist, but he never brought around true communism like he wanted to. And it's like, I don't care what your argument is. You're literally saying what we're saying about all the different people that you're trying to demolish. You're trying to rip down these statues.
Right.
You weren't there.
But there's no real ideology.
We're here. Is where we are. We need to move forward. That's the only option. It's the only option in life.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
Nah.
They will say, we must tear down these old racists. What about that statue of, Lenin? Whoa.
Well, it was accepted. It was accepted at the time.
Ironically,
they said the statue of Lenin is on private property. That's actually what they said.
Wow.
I'm not saying like they literally all said it, but of course they're not going to tear down the Lenin statue in Seattle. I'll tell you what, man. The first time I went to Seattle and I saw the Lenin statue, I was very confused.
Like, why?
I was like,
why?
I think I was 20, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, Lenin?
Is that who I think it is?
I'm like,
Dictator.
isn't this a guy that we hate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why is there a statue of him?
Right. And
don't
why
know
is he
about that.
still standing now?
Why is it there?
Yeah, well, duh.
I don't get it.
They just want to destroy America.
They hate America.
That's the sad reality.
Yeah, maybe.
The other sad reality is that it's 10:10 and it's time to go to bed.
It is.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, you must, Adam.
Smash that like button. Smash it. Smash it solid.
And we will do we do the
was.
show every Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So we will return, but make sure you follow us. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Timcast. You can follow at Adam Krigler on Instagram and Twitter as well as at Sour Patch Lids, LYDS, on Parler and Twitter, and also on Parler as well. I should always remember to mention that.
I actually have a parlay that you can. I have a thread there that you can also give me stories.
Cool. So you can send Adam story ideas on Parler if you have any,
or Twitter. Yeah,
or Twitter.
Either way.
And subscribe. And notification bell, all the good stuff. We'll put up more clips. We put up clips from the show every day, so you can always just hang out and the clips will appear. But if you want to catch us live, now is the time to do it, 8 p.m., but we will return tomorrow. Thank you, friends. We need about 2,000 more likes to break 20K, so as we sign off, I'll just leave that to you. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Smash.
At 8 p.m.
Smash it.